Next man up, 102.5 The Game. Happy Tuesday, Nashville. Jake Lyman, Nick Frazier, Parker Kelly, broadcasting live from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. Tony Tuesdays. Again, not really sure why we're calling it that, but we've got Nick Frazier.
Yeah, I guess because I have a lot of
In-house.
relatives named
Right.
Tony.
You got the Italian, and,
people mistake me for a Tony sometimes.
just stereotyping Tony, Italian name. There you
It's
go.
very much a stereotype.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah.
I'm Italian. It's okay. I'm all right.
Right. Okay. He's given us the pass to call it that. Nick Frazier in with us for the full show. Should be a fun one today. Titans getting ready for their final game of the road trip against Las Vegas on Sunday, trying to get back-to-back wins. Again, we said a lot yesterday, first time in almost 3 years that they can win back-to-back games. Also, Vanderbilt coming off that Alabama game. We touched on it briefly yesterday, but I wanted to dive a little bit deeper into that today. Preds are 2 days away from opening their season. The NHL opens their season tonight. Lots to get to. But before we get into the Titans, that Monday Night Football game last night, not quite as crazy as Titans-Cardinals. Titans-Cardinals set the bar high for wild finishes to a football game. But man, yesterday from Trevor Lawrence trying to jump over the pile on fourth down at the goal line and fumbling, and then Patrick Mahomes throwing a 99-yard pick six, and then the final touchdown, Trevor Lawrence falls, stumbles trying to get up, and still scores a touchdown. Jaguars are now 4-1 on the year.
It was an absolute shambles of a game yesterday. I couldn't really wrap my head around. Wait, he fell down. Oh, he's going for it. Oh, and then he, in the I think it was third quarter, he tried to go for it in the goal line
and fumbled.
And there were some camera angles that looked like the ball came over, but it was almost like a fraction of short of the goal line.
It was like the DeMarcado play on Sunday with the Titans, where it's like you look at it and you're not 100% sure he lost possession before he got to the goal line, but it's close enough that it's like, all right, yeah, I guess that's a fumble. What a weird game last night. I did watch the Manning cast for a little bit. I hadn't watched it at all this year. I don't know if I'm going to go back to watching it. It was novel for a little bit there when it first started, and it was interesting and fun. But, they had Glenn Powell on. What's her name from SNL? She's a Chiefs fan. I forget her name.
Tina Fey.
No, recent SNL. Heidi Gardner. Oh, okay. Yeah, they had her on. She was a big Chiefs fan, and they had her on during the Devin Lloyd pick six, and her reaction was actually pretty funny. But what a weird game, weird weekend. Speaking of the last touchdown of the game for Trevor Lawrence, have you seen Chris Jones on that play?
No.
Talk about all-time loaf from a player. Did not care at all. They're probably going to show the replay here on Good Morning Football in a second. Lawrence falls down, and it looked like Chris Jones was kind of the spy on that play. He was going to sit back and make sure Lawrence didn't run for a touchdown.
Right.
But then he just kind of stands there and watches Trevor Lawrence run into the end zone. It was hilarious. It's like, dude, you are supposed to be one of the best defensive players in football. And he easily could have gotten there. Easily. They'll show it in a little bit. I'll point it out when they get there. But what a weird game. And who would have thought at the beginning of the year that we'd say on October 7th, the Colts and Jaguars are both 4-1. Crazy.
Chiefs and Ravens are struggling. 2-3 and 1-4.
Right.
Never would have thought that.
We're going to talk some Ravens later in the show because the Ravens are an interesting team. Maybe the most intriguing storyline through the first 5 weeks of the season because of the expectations for that team and just how bad they've been. I mean, the Texans, that game wasn't even close. And I understand Cooper Rush was starting at quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
That has a lot to do with it. But the Ravens, you're getting to desperate times over there in Baltimore. But man, Jaguars and Colts, 4-1. I would not have guessed that in a million years. I think I had the Colts winning 4 games all year.
Really?
I would have to look back at my predictions that we did.
At least you didn't say the Vikings.
Yeah, that's true. Vikings 4-13, and
whoops.
The Bengals sadly clinched that they will not reach their 15 win total that you had projected on Sunday.
It's over. Cookies, as they say.
That team's been bad with Jake Browning. But yeah, what a weird weekend in the NFL. I mean, the Titans and Cardinals take the cake for strangest game. I saw somebody made a TikTok of it was kind of like a meme recap of the Titans Cardinals game with all these sound effects and stuff. And every time I watch all of the weird things that happened in that game, I cannot believe how perfectly it shook out for the Titans to win that football game. But a win is a win. You know, you're not 0-5,
That
which
weird touchdown that Tyler Lockett had that he recovered in the end zone. I listened to McAfee's version of it, and there you go. This just doesn't happen every single week. Like, this is something you see it would go not the Titans' way.
Yeah.
And it went the Titans' way for once. It's kind of crazy.
It's one of those things. And I forgot about this play in the Colts or the Chiefs Jags game. The pass interference that just wasn't called, where one of the DBs just lights up Parker Washington, and Trent McDuffie picks it off. Yeah. What a strange game. And I always have said that I prefer the NFL to college football because the quality of play is so much better. And usually the stuff that you see where the ball's pinballing around and weird stuff is happening, that only happens in college football. That has not been the case over the last couple of weeks, at least this week, with just some strange things happening across the NFL.
Yeah, and also in that Kansas City game when Kelsey scores a little touchdown rub route at the bottom of the screen, if you were watching it, that was a pass interference call. How'd that not get called?
Yeah, the officiating was not good. Here, they're about to show it. Watch Chris Jones on this play. Chris Jones, again, like you have such a pedigree for being an elite player in this league. Oh, this is the pass interference first. But you have such a pedigree for being a great player in the NFL. And all you need is some effort here, and you would have stopped Trevor Lawrence. Now, does that win you the football game? I don't know. The Jaguars had no timeouts. The clock would have been running. They still might have scored on the very next play, but you got to make an effort here. Watch Chris Jones on this play, 95 in the middle, standing there, and just watches Trevor Lawrence run into the end zone.
Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah, that's, I mean, all-time loaf from one of the top defensive players in football, at least over the last 5 years. So Trevor Lawrence falls again, gets up, runs into the end zone. Jaguars are now 4-1 on the year.
He looks like a kid that playing football at recess. He fell down in the dirt and trying to get back up to go across the cul-de-sac.
I mean, again, this is like high school, college stuff that we're seeing in the NFL the last couple of days. Wow. You know, it makes it entertaining for sure. But yeah, the Chiefs now 2-3, Jaguars now 4-1. We've had some really entertaining primetime games over the last couple of days. I mean, Thursday night, who would have thought the 49ers and their skeleton crew would be able to beat the Rams? And then Sunday night, the Vrabel special beats the 4-0 Bills. No more undefeated teams across the NFL, and only one more winless team. And guess what, Titans fans? It is not you. As the Titans got a win on Sunday, 22-21 over the Arizona Cardinals. We will dive more into that game next. Did something finally click for the Titans on Sunday? Is this something that they can build on and go get a win against the Raiders? I mean, I rewatched that the offense down the stretch in that game, and it actually looked like an NFL offense. Like that's something I haven't been able to say for a while. Like, they didn't make it look hard. They took the easy plays and they made the plays when they needed to go get points on the board. Now, do I expect them to do that for all 4 quarters in every single game moving forward? Obviously not. But can you get some more consistency from the Titans moving forward? I think that's going to be important. Can that spark you to doing that more often than you have through the first 4 games?
Maybe.
5 games.
So maybe
we'll talk about it. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. We'd love to hear from you. Our phone lines are driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. You can text or call. We've got some good texts in the text line already. Again, 615-737-1025. We'll talk Titans on the other side. The Blue Raiders will take on Missouri State tomorrow at 6:30 p.m. as midweek action starts in Conference USA. Catch all of the action on Totally Hits 93.3 with coverage also available on the Totally Hits Nashville app and at totallyhitsnashville.com. Off and rolling on this Tuesday morning, Jake Lyman, Nick Frazier, Parker Kelly. We'll talk Titans on the other side here on Next Man Up 102.5 The Game. That was Brian Callahan yesterday talking about Calvin Ridley and the progress that we saw from him after a couple of tough games to start off his season. He made some big plays down the stretch, and him and Cam Ward finally got a little bit of that connection that we had heard so much about during training camp. Jake Lyman, Nick Frazier, Parker Kelly, next man up, 102.5 The Game. I'm wondering after Sunday's game because, as lucky as the Titans got to be in position to win that game, they went out and made the plays to win the game. Like, yes, the fumble at the goal line from the Cardinals, if he crosses the goal line, that game is over. If the DB for the Cardinals doesn't fumble the ball after picking off Cam Ward, that game is over. But those plays put them in position, and they went out and made the plays necessary to win the game after that. Can they continue to build on that offensively? Because Cam Ward and Calvin Ridley finally looked like they were in sync. You saw the tight ends make plays. Gunnar Helm with the great catch over his shoulder at the pylon. Chigakonkwo had a nice catch on that final drive to set up the field goal. Like, it's been a while since I've seen the Titans offense play with that kind of rhythm and flow. Is that just a flash in the pan? Hey, they got into a little bit of a groove for a couple of drives, or is that something they can build off of, again, against a Raiders team that they're 1-4 too. They just got beat by 35 against the Colts on Sunday. Can you go and build on that and start to build some consistency as an offense?
I think it's a little mixture of both. I think the football gods kind of lean their way a little bit for some of those plays against Arizona, but primarily it's something that we all talked about this offseason. Well, haven't really talked about much this past offseason, and then now is the offensive line play. Now that we've seen how bad they've been in previous weeks, but this past week, you prefaced it in the first segment, they look pretty serviceable. Like, they look good. Ali Udo's looked pretty good.
Yeah.
Dan Moore Jr. looked pretty good. I just think if you have that play on a consistent basis, that's solely what you're hoping to have every week. Because if you don't have that, then you're forced to use Gunnar Helm and Chigakonkwo as extensions of the offensive line. Then you have no offensive production. Then you're forcing plays into your wide receivers that are probably in double coverage. And then you got to run the ball with Tony Pollard or Tajay Spears now back in the fold. And you have to really work stuff out of the backfield, which doesn't work out well for the most part.
Yeah, I think the offense, even early in the game, looked to be running better. They couldn't seem to convert on third downs throughout the entire first three quarters, really. I mean, you had early in the game, you had drops from Iamaner. One of them was probably more on Cam Ward, or at least shared blame between the two of them.
Kind of let him too much out.
Yeah, let him a little bit. Iamaner alligator armed it a little bit. He did have the one drop that was fully on him. I mean, in traffic, but you got to hold on to that. You had Gunnar Helm had a drop. Tyler Lockett, there was the one that was behind him. Like, it just, you were seeing the play calling was a little bit better. The offensive line was holding up. You had another weapon in Tajay Spears, but it just didn't look crisp until those last couple of drives. I do wonder if Spears having another week back, you having that confidence from Cam Ward of like, hey, not only confidence in the process of like, hey, I made a good throw and it helped us win a game. And also, maybe JC Latham is back. I heard Paul on Robbie and Rexroad this morning say that he feels pretty good that JC Latham is going to be back this week. If you can have that offensive line being a solid unit and keeping Cam Ward protected and establishing the run game, maybe this offense can start to take some strides, because I did think the play calling was better. The protection was better. Now it's about putting it all together and having a full game of that instead of just 12 minutes or whatever it was at the end of the game on Sunday.
I mean, if you add JC Latham back in the equation on the offensive line, that's huge, because if you have the consistent production out of Ali Udo that you had this past Sunday, and you use him as a utility tackle on the right or left side, let's say Dan Moore Jr. is having a rough game against somebody, Ali, get on in there. You could plug him as that left tackle, and maybe that gives the offense a little boost and some consistency like you talked about on that offensive line. Yeah,
I think Dan Moore, he did give up one sack. I think PFF credited him with one, but overall, I thought he looked better the last 2 weeks at left tackle. And you're right. I think you feel better about your swing tackle situation with what Oli Udo's done the last couple of games. Like, he didn't get destroyed by Will Anderson a couple of weeks ago. Now, did he have a great game? No. And I didn't really notice him all that much on Sunday against Arizona, which, as a tackle, especially a backup tackle, that is a compliment right there. I didn't notice you. Like, that's what you want. If you're noticing the right tackle, it's probably not good. So
Yeah.
I think that is important to say, is like, even when JC Latham is back, maybe an injury doesn't make you quite as scared, because you don't have to put John Ojukwu in there, or Jalen Duncan, or a rookie like Brandon Crenshaw Dixon. You've got a guy who you at least feel confident, hey, he's gone in there, he's been a serviceable player for us.
Yeah, and to stay along the lines of the offensive line play and to kind of tie Cam Ward into all of this, to me, looking at Cam Ward with all those, I guess, miscues, throwing the ball to certain wide receivers, it's almost as if Cam Ward has kind of trained his body and mentality like, I need to get the ball out quick, because the last couple of weeks, offensive line has not been great for me. Like, he even made the comment, everybody knows that it's gone viral about how this team's terrible. And
we asked.
Yeah, like, I think that has been engraved in his brain a little bit, to the point to why he didn't have certain throws that went well for him.
Yeah. I mean, we went through his stats over a 6-quarter span from Houston to the first half of the Cardinals game. He was like 15 of 42 for 160 yards.
That's rough.
It's horrible.
Yeah.
And that's not something you can just gloss over. Like, the accuracy has been an issue to this point, but I think the hope is that fourth quarter can be a spark, instead of just okay, he had one good quarter. Can he build off of it? We saw with J.J. McCarthy with the Vikings in that first game against the Bears. He struggled early on, and then he had a great fourth quarter and couldn't build off of it the next week. Obviously, he got hurt too, so not a perfect comparison, but like, can you make sure that it's not just, he had one good quarter and then went back to having a 40% completion percentage? Can he build off that and find a rhythm with his receivers and go get a win on Sunday?
And it all ties back to the offensive line for me. If you have consistent play, I think he can build off of it.
I think
really.
it is important for him not to be scared. Like, not maybe scared's not the right word. Anticipating pressure. Like, I think if what we've seen is that he is preparing himself that he's going to get hit, and he's trying to get the ball out a little too fast. You got to get it out quick, but maybe he's just feeling pressure where it's not. I'm trying to think of, like, not like seeing ghosts like the Sam Darnold thing, but like, maybe tricking himself into thinking he has less time to actually get it out.
Right. And you mentioned time getting the ball out of the pocket. I think this past weekend when I was on with Joe for the pregame shows, that they're on I think it was Next Gen Stats, excuse me. He had like 2.96 seconds in the pocket to get rid of the ball. I think it ranked like 7th across all quarterbacks in the league. I'll double check that in the break, but that's quick. Either that's a good observation or a bad observation. Numbers don't really give you the full, true tell of what it is. But for this case, the Titans, if you have about 2.5 seconds, give or take, you have to make a quick decision.
Yeah.
We all know what that line's done for him. Not much.
Yeah. You hope that JC Latham coming back and what we've seen over the last couple of weeks continues. I mean, again, the sack numbers have gotten better. You had 6 in week 1, 5 in week 2. And then I think you've only had 8 total the last 3 games, which, you wish it was less than that too, but at the very least, you're not giving up 5 sacks a game. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. Let's go to our phone lines, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Trey is on the line. Trey, thanks for calling. Go ahead.
Hey, guys. How y'all doing this morning?
Doing well.
Hey, you know what I want to see in the game? I want to see Cam Ward string along a few first downs in a drive, just to build confidence. I think he's lacking in confidence, even though he's not saying it. I do believe that he's lacking in his confidence. And, okay, the hero ball stuff, that's fine. But he does need to go down there, and get in the end zone a few times just to build up his confidence. I know our offensive line needs some help. Stop letting the free man come in there and bust his head all the time. They need to work on that. If they work on that and give Cam some time, I think he'll do all right. But he does have a lot of work to do. But I think he'll get better. He just needs to build up his confidence. Do y'all agree with that, guys? And y'all have a good day. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for the call, Trey. I don't know if Cam Ward is ever going to lack in confidence, but I think maybe there was a frustration building with Cam Ward of just not seeing any positive results. And it's like, man, and maybe starts to press a little bit. I'm hoping Sunday was that breakthrough of like, all right, I can do this. I can go win a football game in the NFL, and I can make the big throws at the big times when I need to. I don't know if it's a lack of confidence. based on what we've heard from Cam Ward, I don't know if he'll ever actually lack confidence. But I agree that there was probably a frustration, and maybe that's a breakthrough on Sunday of like, all right, I can settle in, like I can do this. We finally got the win under our belt.
You hope so, because he is the face of this franchise going forward. He is the captain. He is the quarterback. He is the everything.
Right.
So you can't be in the mindset of, oh, poor, pitiful me. You have to be in the mindset of, I'm the alpha dog. I am here to take charge. This is my team.
Yeah, no, I think that's a really good point, because the Titans' hopes as a franchise, they hang on Cam Ward's shoulders, and it was a good step on Sunday to see him make some big time throws down the stretch to help lead a comeback in that game. Obviously, got a lot of help. The Cardinals gave the Titans every opportunity to come back in that game, and they took advantage of it, which again is not something we've been able to say very much over the last couple of years. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. More thoughts on Cam Ward on the other side. Also, how much of a leash did Sunday's win buy Brian Callahan? Because that seat was blazing hot heading into Sunday's game. Does that win cool it for just a week? Or do you think he bought himself a couple more games here as the head coach of the Titans? 615-737-1025 is the phone number. Preds fans, Smashville Live returns tonight at Brewhouse South in Cool Springs at 6 p.m. See your Predator star players up close and personal, and also get autographs and pictures. Tonight's Preds player guests will be Nicholas Haig and Nick Perbix. Make sure to tune in right here on 102.5 The Game, or head down there to Brewhouse South in Cool Springs. Jake Lyman, Nick Frazier, Parker Kelly with you on your Tuesday morning. More Titans on the other side here on Next Man Up, 102.5 The Game. That was Brian Callahan yesterday. His first victory Monday since November of last year. Said the coffee tastes a little better, sky's a little bluer.
Coffee does taste better, Brian.
I wonder if it's the caramel coffee.
Yeah, I wonder if they have the golden caramel coffee over there too.
It's possible.
It's possible. Maybe the Mardi Gras one. Jake Lyman, Nick Frazier, Parker Kelly with you. Next man up, 102.5 The Game. Brian Callahan, you could tell the relief from him just to finally get one back in the win column. And we were talking during the break, Nick, about like that win doesn't save his job. Like his job is far from safe. And I said the odds of him keeping his job into 2026 are slim and none. But Slim is still there. Slim has not left the building yet. And this win, I think, at least buys him a couple more weeks. I think a win on Sunday against the Raiders would buy him at least until the bye week.
Yeah, that's fair.
If you lose the rest of your games after that, heading into the bye week, and you're 2-7, then all right, maybe they make a change. But I think this at least buys him through the Patriots game. And, we'll see what happens there. But the Titans' schedule actually it doesn't set up terribly for this team after heading into this Raiders game. The Raiders are 1-4. New England's proven to be pretty good. They just beat the Bills on the road on Sunday night, but that's at home. Then you're at Indianapolis. And then after that Indy game, you don't leave Nashville again until December. You get a month straight at home. Now, this isn't to say that they're going to win a bunch of those games, but it does give you the opportunity to go win games, right? Like that's what you're looking for. Is you're not playing Buffalo on the road, Kansas City on the road, Philadelphia on the road 3 straight. Like this is a palatable schedule for an NFL team. Do we think Callahan has a chance to start to stack some wins and maybe cool that hot seat off a little bit longer?
I think it's possible. If he just wins the games that are against teams that have losing records, I think that's primarily what you have to do. You have to compartmentalize the schedule a little bit. If you can go beat, the Raiders this weekend, that'd be nice. But then you mentioned the whole month of November being at home. You have to I'd say for sure you have to win 1 game, but maybe 2.
Well, it is funny looking at the Titans schedule and like heading into the year, you would have thought the Colts games and the Jaguars games were like, oh, those are going to be winnable for sure.
Split them down.
And it's like those teams are both 4-1. Like I don't think that either of those teams are like top line AFC contenders. Like, are the Buffalo Bills scared of the Jacksonville Jaguars or the Indianapolis Colts? No. But it is funny. You look at those games and you're like, those are winnable. And now it's like, oh, those teams are top of the AFC right now. So we'll see on that. But I think Brian Callahan right now, I think, has bought himself a little time by not going to 0-5 because I said it yesterday. If DeMarcado crosses the line with that football, there's a chance that he is not the head coach of the Tennessee Titans anymore.
It's
like
possible.
You're 0-5. They were down 28-6 at that point. You wonder if maybe that play would have kind of broken the Titans' spirit and just, they kind of fold after that. It felt like instead it sparked the Titans that they got that break. So I wonder how much time this buys him. If you do go lose to the Raiders on Sunday and then you lose to the Patriots, maybe a change gets made sooner rather than later. But I think at this point, you can see a path for him to make it through the season if he's able to win some of these more winnable games, especially the ones you play here in Nashville.
Yeah, and that only just helps the fan base get behind you a little bit. And I think you ride the momentum of your fan base. That kind of helps solidify your job just a little bit more. Obviously, winning cures a lot of things here, but if you have your fan base behind you a little bit, that buys you a little more time.
I think there are a lot of Titans fans that are never going to be on board with Brian Callahan.
But I'm just saying, you win some games, they'll be happy about
right. It. Well, it's just funny. Like I mentioned to you too, that on the YouTube chat yesterday, somebody asked, like, if Brian Callahan finishes 9-8, does he keep his job? I'm like, yes. If Brian Callahan wins 9 of his last 13 games, yes, he keeps his job. But that's a stretch, a big one. I think in order to have any chance to not get fired after this season, Brian Callahan probably needs to win 6 games. So that would mean after starting 0-4, you got to go 6-7 at the very least. You already got one of those wins. I think that's the very minimum, and I don't think 6 wins is guaranteed to save his job. I think 7. I think if you're 7-10 and you go above 500 after an 0-4 start, I think he keeps his job. But again, like he's won 4 out of his first 22. So like
it's a tall hill to climb.
Like to guess that he's going to win 6 of his next 13 is not exactly reasonable.
Yeah.
Possible.
It is possible. I mean, looking at their schedule right now, I'm not going to say these are gimme games, but they're definitely in the battle for these. December 28th against the Saints. They're a pretty bad ball club. The Browns obviously beating the Packers early in the season.
The Browns have actually looked like a better team than I expected them to.
Under who? What quarterback, Jake?
Dylan Gabriel.
I'm telling you, the dude's pretty good. Just putting that out there. And then you have to at least win a game against the Texans. I know you were shut out 26-0, but out of the AFC South, out of those 3 other teams, that's the one team to me that you have the best chances against.
Yeah. It's
because right now Jacksonville looks pretty solid and Indianapolis looks like a Super Bowl contender.
I don't know about that. Like they look really good, but like again, I always go back to the AFC is the quarterback conference. Right. And like if Daniel Jones has to go beat Justin Herbert, Patrick Mahomes, and Josh Allen in 3 straight games, do you think he's going to be able to get through that? And I can't see it.
I don't know. When it comes to the playoffs, and I'm not trying to deviate from Titans talk here, but when it comes to the playoffs for Indianapolis, they got a bell cow running back they can rely on. And I think if you can put more on his shoulders, less on Daniel Jones, and just pick and choose when you can. I mean, that's football, but when you pick and choose your battles passing the ball, I think they do a really good job at that. I think Shane Steichen does a really good job at calling plays.
No, and they're 4-1, and I think right now I'd pick them to win the division over Jacksonville. I think in the playoffs, in the AFC, like that's you got to have a quarterback who can go toe to toe with the big guys, and they don't. Like Daniel Jones, great story. He's looked really good through 5 weeks, but AFC Championship game in Buffalo, who are you taking?
Buffalo.
I'm taking Josh Allen. I'm taking the MVP. That's fair. 615-737-1025 is the phone number if you have thoughts. For Brian Callahan, like I'm happy for him. He got the win. But we talked about it yesterday about how if you go under the hood of that win, like Brian Callahan still had his issues in that game of decision-making. And I know he said yesterday that like the going for 2 after the Tony Pollard touchdown, that their philosophy is going to be kicking it in that situation. And that, it's fine. If you're going to be consistent with it and that's what your analytics say, and that is what your numbers say, fine. Wouldn't have been my decision. But obviously it you shot yourself in the foot because Joey Slye missed the extra point. But there were some questionable game management decisions in that game from Brian Callahan. The win covers some of that up. Let's see what happens on Sunday. Because I think Sunday is a huge game for Brian Callahan, because right now you can look at that game and say, you know what? It's kind of a fluky win. Not kind of. It was a fluky win. Can you go out and build on the confidence you gain from it and go beat a team that, quite honestly, isn't that, if they're better than you, it's not by a ton. Geno Smith has thrown 9 interceptions this year.
That's bad.
We're going to talk more about the Raiders a little bit later, but
right.
It's going to be an interesting game on Sunday because, in a game that probably is the worst game on the slate, there's a lot on the line for Brian Callahan. Go win back-to-back games. Again, it hasn't been done since November of 2022.
And I'm sure Bo Hardigree, as an offensive play caller, wants to show the Raiders he still has something in the bag because he was their interim OC for a time being in 23. He's got something to prove as well.
Yeah.
There's a lot of storylines in this game coming on Sunday. I believe, Bill Callahan was with the Raiders.
Right. He was the head coach. Yep.
Yeah. So there's some definitely, I wouldn't say bad blood, but there's some stuff to prove for both parties.
Ron on our text line asked, let me ask you this. The Titans were already out west. Why did they come back home knowing they got to go right back out west? It's because Amy was going to fire Brian if he lost to the Cardinals. That move was announced when they released the schedule, if I'm not mistaken. Like, they released the schedule and immediately somebody asked, are you going to be staying out west? And the Titans said no. So unless they were planning on firing Brian Callahan in April or May when the schedule came out, that was not the reason they came back. But yes, typically teams do stay out west for those trips. Titans decided not to, but that decision, at least to my memory, was made right when the schedule came out.
Yeah, and to the point of the preseason, I don't know if you remember Callahan saying this, but that whole preseason stretch where they were on the road, they stayed in hotel rooms and they stayed in, you know, whatever it may be. I think it was primarily because he just wanted to build a culture and chemistry with that team.
Yeah.
I think they've already built whatever they can build.
Right.
And so, yeah, you just make the decision to come home. And nonetheless, like you said, it was already predetermined before the season began.
Yeah. I don't think there was any like, well, maybe after week 5, we might want to fire Brian. So let's bring him back home. I think this was all predetermined. And honestly, it might have been Brian Callahan's decision. So I don't think there's any kind of conspiracy theory there. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. We'd love to hear from you. Our phone line's driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Hang with Titans fans, including the crew from 1025 The Game at Overhang Bar at Circa in Las Vegas. Drink specials are included, plus giveaways, including 2 tickets to the Titans and Raiders game. Go to circalasvegas.com for more information. The Titans are now 1-4. Guess who else is? The Baltimore Ravens. Interestingly enough, though, they are still favored to win the AFC North. I wanted to have a quick conversation on the Baltimore Ravens. We'll do that coming up next. Jake Lyman, Nick Frazier, Parker Kelly, next man up, 1025 The Game. Next man up, 1025 The Game. Jake Lyman, Nick Frazier, Parker Kelly with you on this Tuesday, wrapping up hour number 1. Jamming out here on this Tuesday.
Backstreet Boys, man.
I love
How can
it.
you not love the Backstreet Boys?
I love it. 8566. We were just talking about Callahan and the decision to kick down by 9. And he sent a chart with like all of the different it's kind of interesting of like what you should do when you're down by a certain amount. It looks like down 9 is like right in the middle. Like it's basically 50-50. Like 10 is obviously where you would go for it because, you want to make it a one possession game. 14 is the big one where it's like sometimes the numbers will tell you like if you're down 14 late, go for 2. That way you can either win it with an extra point or you can tie it if you go for 2 again. So very interesting stuff. I thought Brian Callahan he didn't cost the team the game. Obviously, they won the game. And I mentioned yesterday, I thought his clock management down the stretch was very good. The way he called his timeouts and setting up the kick to win it at the end, I really liked the way Brian Callahan did all of that. The end of half sequence wasn't great, but, they won the game, covers it up.
Yeah, and I think there's 2 things to take away from that. One, Brian Callahan delegating play calling to Bo Hardigree and letting other coaches do their job where he doesn't have to call plays and oversee everything. I think that opened up his brain a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm not saying, there's an incompetency level. No, it's just that he had too much on his plate. And I think he's starting to understand that maybe being a head coach, you don't have to do everything. Maybe you can actually have a coaching staff to do their work.
Yeah, and you can delegate stuff. And again, I like the play calling for the most part from Bo Hardigree.
Yeah.
I love the 2 deep shots to Chimdike. Cam just missed them, and you hope moving forward he'll be able to hit some of those. 615-737-1025. Titans are 1-4. I mentioned heading into the break, the Baltimore Ravens are 1-4 too.
Wow.
Off to a horrible start this year. That defense is atrocious.
And they're missing everybody.
They are. I saw there was a graphic during that Texans-Ravens game of like from 2000 to 2024 Ravens defense, because that's what they're known for. Like the Ravens defense is always good. And it was like first in this category, second in this category, third in this category. And this year they are dead last in almost everything. They are horrible on defense. And a lot of that is injuries. They got Nnamdi Madubuike, who's been out. I think he just went on IR.
Mm-hmm.
Has Roquan Smith has missed some time too.
Yes, he was on the previous
right. Like I understand it's injuries a lot, but they're 1-4. And I saw yesterday it was Kay Adams who tweeted this out. The Baltimore Ravens are still the odds-on favorite to win the NFC North.
I don't understand that. Like, how can you have a team that's 1-4? I get they have a lot of talent, but they're all injured.
Well, and their schedule does lighten up. Like you look at their schedule and it's a murderer's row. They beat the Browns. The 4 losses have come against the Bills, the Lions, the Chiefs, and the Texans.
All top teams.
But Lamar Jackson wasn't playing against the Texans.
Right.
So again, grain of salt. They do play the Rams this upcoming week, and then they have a bye week. So there's a decent chance. You don't know if Lamar Jackson is going to play this week. There's a decent chance you're 1-5 heading into the bye week. But after that, you go Bears, Dolphins, Vikings, Browns, Jets, Bengals. Like, you could reel off some wins there.
Yeah.
So I get it. This team
get back to 500.
Right. This team's going to be, I don't think they're going to be completely out of it. But, man.
They have a tough hill to climb.
They're horrible. And they got blown out by the Texans. They played some close games this year. Again, maybe saying they're horrible is too much. But, like, their defense has been horrible.
They're subpar.
And it's like if Lamar Jackson isn't out there and your defense is that bad, your offense can't keep up. 1-4 is tough. I don't get the Steelers. Like, I don't think the Steelers are a great team, and I don't think they're a Super Bowl contender by any means. Okay. And obviously the Bengals may be the worst team in football since Joe Burrow got hurt. Browns are not good.
That's fair.
So it's the Steelers and the Ravens who are fighting for the AFC North. With Mike Tomlin and they're 3-1, it's like, all right, the Steelers, they're going to end up at 9-8. Do we think that the Ravens can get to 10-7? I don't know. They're going to have to make a run, and you need to make sure that Lamar Jackson is healthy. It was It's been an interesting start to the season. As one of the people in our YouTube chat says, the Ravens are 1-4. The Colts and Jaguars are 4-1 with the Bills and Eagles. It's a weird season, and it is. 3337 on our text line asked this question, and I think it's a little bit of a stretch, but I wanted to pose this. If the Ravens are still bad at the deadline and end up being sellers, would you give up a 6 or a 7 to bring the king back to Nashville? I know it's homerish and ain't gonna happen, but would be great for Cam and the fans. Really?
No.
If that was on the table, like if King Henry, if Derrick Henry goes, yeah, we gave our shot here with the Ravens, but I don't think it's going to work out. Although he just signed an extension, didn't he?
It was
okay,
2
never mind.
years, 30
I was going to
million.
say he just signed an
No.
extension. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
But if you were offered that chance, I think the Titans would do it. It's not going to happen. I don't think he would want it. I don't think the Ravens would want it.
I mean,
I think the Titans would want it.
Yeah, from a PR standpoint, sure. But if they were to do that, that means Derrick Henry's giving up the opportunity to go for a Super Bowl. That means
Right.
he's like, yeah, I'm done. I'm going to end my career here in two-tone blue and call it a day.
Right.
But
I think for
I don't see
Derrick
that.
Henry, you look at, maybe this season doesn't end well for the Ravens, but who do you think is going to be a better team next year? Probably the Baltimore Ravens.
And the good thing about the Ravens is if they end up, I wouldn't say losing out, but having a bottom 5, bottom 6 record, they have a top 6 pick.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
And I don't think that, reading off their schedule, the Ravens are going to win at least 7 games, at the very least. But off to a slow start, it's an interesting question. I mean, because I do think at the end of his career, I think maybe Derrick Henry comes back and does a farewell tour with the Titans. Because, the way he's built, I think he's going to be good enough to still be an NFL running back for a while, kind of like a Frank Gore kind of thing, where it's like he can still play even if he's not going to be an elite 3-down back. So I wouldn't be surprised if 3 years down the road, when Derrick Henry knows he's going to hang it up soon, if he comes back and is just like he's your backup running back for the Titans.
Yeah, I could see that happening. I mean, as to the Ravens now with Derrick Henry, one thing they're missing out on is running the ball with him. There was that stat, I think, when he was with the Titans, if he had under 20 carries a game, the Titans ended up losing or some ungodly stat like that. Same thing right now applies to the Ravens. Under 20 snaps, they're 1-4. Just get the guy some ball. Just give him the ball, let him run the ball a little bit. 1, it manages the clock. 2, takes a lot more pressure off Cooper Rush. Just call a better game plan.
Well, and it is tough because Derrick Henry, this Ravens team could be 3-2 if it weren't for him fumbling twice at the end of games.
Buffalo game.
The Buffalo game, clearly the Lions game was a little bit more just like the fumble didn't cost them the game, but obviously it didn't help. 615-737-1025. Ravens off to a slow start, 1-4. I did hear Paul and Robbie talking this morning about maybe Jeffrey Simmons to the Ravens. If instead of selling, they look to go make a big splash to get them back into contention. I don't know. I've said it with the Jeffrey Simmons trade saga of set your price high, and if no one matches it, you keep him.
Yeah.
But maybe the Ravens, maybe the Bills, maybe they get desperate enough that it's like, hey, we've got a window here. The Chiefs are 2-3. They're going to have to play on the road in the playoffs, most likely. Let's go get one more piece to try and solidify ourselves as the favorites in the AFC. And for the Bills, if it's like, all right, we give up the 32nd pick if we feel like we can go win the Super Bowl, and we give up a third that's just inside the top 100, is that worth it to go get Jeffrey Simmons? And again, I'm not saying that in a normal situation, that's what the Titans would get for Jeffrey Simmons, but I think the Titans have all the leverage. It's just like, hey, if you're not going to meet our price, we have no reason to trade him. But if you want to give us a first and a third, he's yours.
Yeah, I think you make a great point because the Ravens, it literally, you have to have the stars align for the Titans to get their maximum value for Jeffrey Simmons, because you got to have teams that are playoff worthy, the teams that are Super Bowl contenders, and the Ravens are one of them. And so if you have all your assets, all your ducks in a row, and your stars line up for Jeffrey Simmons to be gone, I'm with you, Jake. I think a first and third's honestly a fair trade in that circumstance.
Right. That's what I'm saying is there shouldn't be a negotiation here. It
Right.
shouldn't be the Bills call you and say, what do you want for Simmons? And you say, oh, we'll do a first and a third. And they're like, how about a second and a fourth? And it's like, deal. It's like, no, it should be, hey, we have him for 2 more years. He's playing some of the best football of his career. If you give us way above what you should, we'll give him to you. Blow our socks off, as Barry Trotz said with UC Soros.
Yeah.
But if you don't, we're perfectly fine keeping the anchor of our defense in place.
Yeah.
And
they'll be okay with that.
Right.
Because look, if you end up holding on to Jeffrey Simmons, I even heard Paul and Robbie say this as well, like sign him to an extension.
Right. The way he's playing right now, I have no problem holding on to Jeffrey Simmons. But it's like, also, if somebody's willing to overpay and give you premium draft capital, I wouldn't hate it too. Because this team is more than a Jeffrey Simmons away from being competent again, being competitive.
The only way you rebuild the team is through the draft.
Right.
And if this team ends up being a bottom 4 team, you're going to have really good draft capital, because if you're smart, you trade back that number 1 overall pick. Let's just say if they're the worst team. You know?
Yeah. And that's what Chad Brinker and Mike Borgonzi said, is they want all of these picks, 30 total picks over 3 years and 12 in the top 100. Yes, trading out of your early pick next year could be huge and get you a big cluster of picks, but maybe won't get you enough to get to where you need to be quickly. And an extra first, an extra third, maybe a second, like that could help accelerate this rebuild if you can get more young talent in here. Because who knows if Jeffrey Simmons is going to be the same Jeffrey Simmons when this team is actually competitive for the AFC South and to get back into the playoffs again.
Yeah, I mean, minus Femi Oladejo this year, I think this draft class has been a success. I mean, wouldn't you say so? I mean,
right. I mean, I think you look at this draft class and say a lot of those guys are pieces to build around, which is, it's more than you could say for a lot of the draft classes from 2020 to 2023, even 5 games into their career. You're like, man, this draft class is kind of underwhelming. And so far, I think you feel good about it. You hope that last year's draft class with Latham and Sweat can get healthy and back on the field, because they're obviously going to be big parts of it as well. Robert says if the Titans trade Jeff, and they should absolutely not, but if they did, it'd be to the Patriots. The Patriots don't need a defensive tackle, though. And I don't think they're going to give up a first-round pick to go get Jeffrey Simmons. I get the Vrabel connection, but I don't see it. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. We wrap up hour number 1 on this Tuesday. When we come back, we'll dive into college football. Vanderbilt came up short in Tuscaloosa, but the Commodores are still 5-1 heading into the bye week. Also, is college football as wide open as it's ever been? We're seeing elite teams at the top of the preseason rankings dropping like flies. Could Vanderbilt and could Tennessee make a run and get into the playoff this year? We'll talk about it coming up next. 615-737-1025. Jake Lyman, Nick Frazier, Parker Kelly. Next man up here on 1025 The Game. Second hour, next man up, 102.5 The Game. Jake Lyman, Nick Frazier, Parker Kelly. We are broadcasting from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville Studios, home of the $99 yearly BI membership, where the buzz is always about great service. Let's talk some college football here in hour number 2. Vanderbilt came up short on the road in Tuscaloosa this weekend. Huge game. Had an opportunity to get to 6-0 heading into the bye week. Likely would have been a top 10 team, but just didn't make enough plays. And, Diego Pavia, 2 red zone turnovers, which you just can't have when you're trying to win on the road against a team like Alabama. And credit to Ty Simpson, really good player. He's put himself right at the top of the Heisman race with the way he's played since that Florida State game. And so Vandy falls to 5-1, but it's tough to not look at the what ifs in that game of, it's 7-0 Vandy. They're in the red zone. Feels like 10-0, 14-0 would have made that a completely different game. Instead, Bama forces the fumble. They go down the field. They tie it. And yeah, Vandy made it 14-7 before the half, but from there on out, it felt like Alabama found its rhythm.
Yeah, and that was the biggest test for me to see if Alabama can somehow play from behind and get the lead back, because they haven't had that since week 1 against Florida State. Sure enough, Vandy goes up early 7-0, and Alabama, they're like, we're not phased. And they came out and, like you said, they took control of the game. And to the point about Pavia, I think that's probably Vanderbilt's downfall, is when they have to play from behind.
Yeah.
He can't play hero ball. Like, they got to play team ball, where what got them there. And, just running the ball and just those short routes to like Stowers or whoever else is out there, just those short, quick routes.
Yeah.
That's what you need to do to keep moving the ball down the field.
It's just tough because you look at the final score and it's like 30-14. Man, Alabama dominated. It's like, no, like Vandy was driving down by 6 with a chance to go take the lead, and Pavia threw a pick. And it's like, I wonder if maybe Diego felt like the weight fell on his shoulders too much. I mean, they ran the ball with their running back 6 times in that game.
Yeah.
Cedric Alexander busted off a 68-yard touchdown early in that game. And then outside of that, they ran the ball with their running backs 5 times. You need to establish the run. It can't all fall on Pavia. And it felt like Pavia had to do too much, and he ended up making some big mistakes. It's tough. It's a tough loss because, I mean, if you're Vandy, you have to feel like you were right there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yes, Alabama played well, and they made the plays necessary to go win that football game. But for Vanderbilt, it's like, man, we were 1 or 2 mistakes away from controlling that game again on the road at Alabama. So it's one of those things where it's like bittersweet of, yeah, you really wish you would have won that game. But I feel like you did prove to yourself that, like, you can play with anyone. And if you just don't make your mistakes and you don't shoot yourself in the foot, you have a chance to go win some of these tougher games coming up. LSU and Texas and Tennessee and Auburn and Missouri, who's now a top 15 team. Vandy's got everything that they want up in front of them.
Yeah, and I was listening somewhere over the weekend when I was watching the game. I don't know if it was TV broadcast, local broadcast, or national broadcast, whatever it was. And they mentioned something that I've been kind of harping on the last couple of weeks and months about Vandy's team, is comparing it from last season when they played Alabama to this year. And they did this against Texas as well. They went horizontally down the line of scrimmage, and they were able to manage the clock, get into those 3rd and 3s, those 3rd and 2s. And I thought that was just so telling, because Vandy kind of went away from their DNA. Like you mentioned, that they only ran the ball 6 times. Like, you should have been doing that more often. Yeah, I get you're behind in the game. You're down by whatever it was at the time. You're down by 6 points in the 3rd quarter, but you need to know that it's still a 1-possession game. You're not playing to, blow them out by 50 that you've done the last 4 or 5 weeks. You're in a dogfight now. You need to know how to manage the clock well and, don't force things.
Yeah, you want a pretty good indication of the difference in this year's game and last year's game.
Yeah.
Vanderbilt's time of possession last year in Nashville, 42 minutes. 17 and a half minutes for Alabama in that game. So Vanderbilt basically just played keep away. They had long, sustained drives that led to points, and Alabama couldn't take advantage of the small number of opportunities they had. This year, Alabama, 37 and a half minutes of time possession. Vandy just 22. So I don't think that's everything. Like, you look at the turnovers, those are big.
Right.
But last year, Vandy's game plan was we are going to run the play clock down every single time. We're going to have 15 play drives. We're going to move the chains on third down, and we're going to beat you just by kind of suffocating the game away. This year, you couldn't do it. You only had the ball for a little over 20 minutes, and you turned the ball over in the red zone twice. I mean, that's the difference in the game right there. Again, it's bittersweet because it's like, yeah, there are no moral victories for Vanderbilt. Like, you want to go win all of these football games, but you do have to look at that. And I'm sure that's what Clark Lee and Jerry Kill and this staff are saying during this bye week is like, hey, yeah, we lost and we wanted to win that game. And it would have helped us tremendously to win that game. But we were right there. And if we don't make our mistakes, we can play with anybody across the country.
Absolutely. And I don't know if it's the extra moxie that Pavia brings this year when it comes to playing these top 15, top 10 opponents, but just get back to the basics. What really got you here?
Yeah.
And I think this game against Alabama humbled them in some aspects to where they go, you know what? Maybe this is a game where we can kind of get right against LSU. Because to be honest with you, after Texas losing to Florida, I feel like the SEC is wide open, minus Alabama and Georgia and so forth. This whole entire conference is wide open to the point where they can play with the, like you said, they can play with the best of the best. And to me, LSU is a vulnerable team. I don't think they're a top 10, top 15 ball club at all.
LSU's offense has not been very good. They play South Carolina this weekend. That's a very interesting game between two highly touted early season teams that both haven't gotten off to the starts that they wanted. And I think Vandy, if you're Vandy, you're rooting for, I don't know who you're rooting for because you already beat South Carolina. You got LSU coming to town on the 18th. It's going to be an interesting game. And I think Vandy having this week off is going to be important because guess what? Their bye week last year came right before that Alabama game. They came out with a perfect game plan. We'll see what they can do when LSU comes to town in just under 2 weeks. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. If you want to chime in, our phone line's driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Nick, you just said that the SEC is wide open. I think all of college football is pretty wide open. And we'll talk about it coming up next. Vandy and Tennessee right now, if you look at the rankings, they're still on the outside looking in when it comes to playoff spots. Tennessee's 12th, right? So like they're right there, but you know, with the auto bids and all that kind of stuff. But you look at the top 10 in the rankings and it's like, how many proven commodities are there across college football? There's not a ton. And if Vandy and Tennessee are both able to take care of business, they have an opportunity to put themselves in a great spot when they meet up in Neyland in late November. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. Jake Lyman, Nick Frazier, Parker Kelly. Next man up. You're on 1025 The Game. We got Darth Vader walking into the room.
When I think of Diego Pavia, this song comes to
Wow.
mind.
See, I always referred to Tennessee as the evil empire. So, I guess Diego Pavia, Darth Vader.
He's the Darth Vader to college football, I guess. I don't know.
Next man up, 102.5 The Game, Jake Lyman, Nick Frazier, Parker Kelly with you, talking some college football. College football, it's wide open right now. We're going to go through the rankings and see where Tennessee and Vanderbilt could find themselves if they're able to play some good football over the next month or so. Because, again, they meet up end of the regular season. There is still an opportunity for that game to be for a playoff spot at the end of the year, which is just, it's so much fun. Both teams obviously have to take care of their business, but exciting to look ahead 6 weeks, 7 weeks in advance. But first, let's go back to our phone lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Edward is on the line wanting to talk about Diego Pavia, who I guess Parker Kelly has deemed Darth Vader. Edward, thanks for calling. Good morning. Go ahead.
Good morning, guys. Enjoy your shows in the morning when I'm working out. I guess I'm looking at Vanderbilt standards, and Diego Pavia's interactions with the crowd, it seems to be more on his mind than maybe staying focused on the game plan. That's just maybe me. I mean, he grabbed himself to the crowd at one point, and the television caught it, and then on some of the Instagram, you can see him interacting with some older Alabama fans in the crowd, and stay focused on the game. That was a little disappointing. I've just heard a lot of positive things about him, but he seemed to be wound up about getting in Alabama fans either. What's your thoughts on that? And thanks for taking my call.
Yeah, thanks for calling, Edward. I think that's just kind of what you get with Diego Pavia. And for better or for worse, he's going to be a character. He's going to interact with the crowd. He takes on that role. And yeah, when you lose the game, it doesn't end up looking very good. And I didn't see the first part of what Edward was talking about, but I did see the video of him and an Alabama fan going back and forth as they walked off the field. Like, that's just Diego Pavia. And like when he wins and he's yelling into the microphone on the SEC network, Vandy, we turn, like, it's great and everybody loves it. When you lose, you kind of look like a sore loser, and that's kind of just how it goes.
But like you said, it's Pavia. He's consistent the full way through.
Right. He's going to do that win or lose.
Right. So if he's doing that, and I could see where Edward's coming at, where he's a little upset about it, but like you said, it's Pavia. Like that's college football. Like if you want to be on, if you want to know the honest God truth, like Johnny Manziel did the same thing, and guess who was on the sideline that day? Johnny Manziel. Like, he's Johnny Football 2.0 in a roundabout way. I'm not saying his play reflects that. No, they're completely different in that aspect. But, I mean, he has that same moxie as Johnny Football did when he played at A&M.
Right. Johnny Manziel was on the sideline, the Pavia jersey on Saturday. Like, that's kind of what he poses himself after. And, again, people aren't going to like it. And, again, especially after you lose, like, you're going to have to take the heat for it. But Diego Pavia is consistent. That's what he's going to do every single time.
And also a side note to all that, I got a little, I'm not a Vandy fan, but I got a little problem with all these A-list celebrities in a roundabout way being on the side. Like, I don't know if Clark Lee has an issue with it, but when you have Theo Vaughn, Diego Pavia's friend Johnny Manziel, and a few other people, like, that's cool and all, but I think it kind of deviates a little bit away from the team.
Yeah, I can see that. I think it is cool, and we've talked to Andrew Allegretta about this, about how the atmosphere around Vanderbilt football has changed, and the connotation of Vandy football, it's like, it's not Vandy anymore, it's Vandy, like, and people want to be involved with Vanderbilt football, which is cool. And I think if you're Clark Lee, you don't want to downplay that, because I'm sure that helps with recruiting, having Theo Vaughn on your sideline, and I Show Speed shows up at your practices, and Johnny Manziel's on your sideline during a game at Alabama. Like, all of that, I'm sure, is helpful for how you sell Vanderbilt to these high schoolers and transfers and all that. But right, like, when you lose, it's kind of like, was it a distraction?
Yeah, I think it did play a little bit of a distraction. Not to the whole team, I think there was a lot on Pavia's brain. I really do. I think when you're trying to play hero ball and you're playing from behind, Johnny Manziel did that, but he used his feet and he was shifty. Pavia can't do that.
Yeah, and obviously it didn't work out for Vanderbilt on Saturday. They're now 5-1. They got the bye week. LSU comes to town on October 18th. Justin from Greenbrier asked if Vandy didn't turn the ball over those two critical times, do y'all think they could have pulled out a win? For sure. I mean, is it guaranteed? No, but I think it's a completely different game. If you even get 3 on that first drive, I think you have an opportunity to go win that game late. Obviously, it didn't turn out that way. You were down 9, and then Alabama scores the touchdown with under a minute and a half to go. Ken asks, how much fun would it be if Vandy and Tennessee were both 9-2 going into Neyland with the playoffs on the line? And that's kind of the scenario we're looking at. For Vandy, is it realistic that they're going to go 5-0 heading into that Tennessee game and be 10-1? Where if you're 10-1, you're probably a lock for the playoffs at that point. Yeah. I don't know about that. But 4-1 seems to be within the realm of possibility. You only have one more road game before you go to Tennessee. And that's against Texas, who, number 1 team in the country in the preseason, no longer ranked after losing to Florida this week. So, it's a winnable game, especially with the way Arch Manning is played. You got LSU and Missouri, 2 top 15 teams at home coming in back-to-back weeks. Then you got Auburn and Kentucky. Vandy has to go 4-1 to put themselves in a spot where they could go to Tennessee with a chance to play themselves into a playoff spot.
And the benefit for them out of those 5 games, only one of those is on the road.
Right. You got 4 at home and 2 are against ranked teams, but they're ranked teams with flaws, right? Like we've seen LSU struggle even in their wins this year at times. And has Missouri really played a whole lot of, like they played South Carolina, who Vandy beat 2, and who'd they beat this past weekend?
Missouri beat, I believe it was UMass, 42-6.
Yeah, so they haven't. Did they not play an SEC game this week?
No, they played Alabama this week.
So right, so the 5 wins for Missouri, who's the number 14 team in the country: Central Arkansas, Kansas, Louisiana, South Carolina, who they beat 29-20 at home. Vanderbilt beat them 31-7 on the road, and then UMass. So they get Alabama this weekend. I think that'll tell you a lot about what Missouri actually is. But it's not out of the realm of possibility. Like, Vandy still has everything to play for, and they still have the leeway of like, hey, we can lose one more game and still be in a good spot to make the playoffs. Tennessee is in the same spot, especially with, your loss to Georgia was in overtime. Mm-hmm. You got Alabama on the road, 3rd Saturday in October. Not going to be easy. You got Oklahoma. That's November 1st. Parker, would you know, like, is John Mateer, I would guess that's what, 50-50 that he'd be back for that game?
They're going to try to play him this week.
They're trying to play him this week?
They're going to try to do it.
I thought I saw like 4 to 6 weeks was.
I don't think it's going to happen, but John Mateer, the competitor, and wants to play.
Right.
I don't think it's going to happen.
I guess it's Texas, so like they're going to try and push it, but man. All right, so you would guess if they're trying to get him to play this week, like November 1st, Mateer is going to be back.
Right.
So if you're Tennessee, you got to take care of business in the games you're supposed to win. That would be Arkansas. That would be Kentucky, New Mexico State. And then at Florida the week before Vandy in the Swamp. That's
a tough one.
That's a trap game.
Yeah, because they go beat Texas this past weekend. And to yourself, you're thinking, is Texas really that bad? Or is this Florida team finally catching?
Right. Like
fire?
Florida hasn't played well this year, and they haven't lived up to expectations, but that's still a talented team. That is a talented team down in Gainesville. And then you've got Alabama and Oklahoma. You got to win the games you're supposed to and split those games between Alabama and Oklahoma. And you head into that Vanderbilt game at 9-2 with a chance to play your way into the playoffs. I would say it's not likely. Like, I would say the odds of both those teams only having 2 losses heading into that game are maybe 20%, somewhere in there.
I was thinking more like 30, 35.
Right. Like it's not likely, but it's possible. And I look at it this way too, of like, maybe even 3 losses gives you a chance if they're the right 3 losses, right? Like, and we can do that on the other side here. I'm looking at the AP poll, and it's not like you have a bunch of superpowers there. Like, you've got a couple of proven teams at the top, And everybody else, I still feel a little shaky about. And we'll go through that coming up next. Jake Lyman, Nick Frazier, Parker Kelly with you on this Tuesday morning, talking some college football. We'll get back into the Titans later in the show. Also, the Predators, 2 days away from starting their season. They announced their roster yesterday, and Brady Martin is going to be the top line center. We have to get into that later on in the show, too. We will do that. But continuing to talk college football coming up next. Jake Lyman, Nick Frazier, Parker Kelly, next man up here on 102.5 The Game. Next man up, 102.5 The Game. Jake Lyman, Nick Frazier, Parker Kelly. Halfway through the show on this Tuesday, talking some college football. Tennessee and Vanderbilt, both with one loss on the year, but we're looking through their schedules and not out of the realm of possibility that these two teams could meet in Neyland Stadium on November the 29th for a chance to go to the college football playoff. It's going to take some big wins down the stretch for each of these teams, and you're going to have to see maybe some unexpected wins from both of them. But it's possible. And I don't know if this state could handle it. Like that week would be so much fun.
Talk about the headlines in the papers, online. It would just be crazy.
I mean, like look at the Tennessee Vanderbilt baseball rivalry over the last couple of years and how heated it's gotten. And like people do care about the Tennessee Vanderbilt rivalry. I know Tennessee fans try and downplay it, especially in football, of like, oh, our rivals are Alabama and Florida and Georgia. But there's a reason you play rivalry weekend. And this one, if it means going to the college football playoff, I mean, for Vanderbilt, the chance not only like last year, they had the chance to knock Tennessee out of the playoff.
Yep.
And they went up early. They had the kick return for a touchdown, the fumble. They made it 14-0, and it looked like they might play spoiler. Then Tennessee took over. They won the game. But not only a chance to knock Tennessee out, but to put yourself in,
it just means more.
It would be so much fun. And I'm looking at the top 15 in the rankings right now, and maybe it's just the parity of NIL and all this stuff that have and the transfer portal, but I look at the top 3 in the country, and I think those are your proven commodities. Those are teams that I look at and I say, yeah, those 3 teams are playoff locks.
Yep.
Ohio State, Miami, Oregon. The way they've played, I mean, Miami's played a tough schedule so far. Oregon's played a tough schedule. I mean, Ohio State, maybe not so much, but they beat Texas to start the year. I think those 3 teams, I believe, are going to be in the playoffs and probably going to be all playing for conference championships at the end of the year. Yeah. I think you'll get Ohio State, Oregon in the Big Ten. Miami will obviously at this point be in the ACC championship. But then I look at the rest of this top 10, and maybe I'm scouting logos. Like I say, don't scout logos, but maybe I'm just like Ole Miss, Texas A&M, Oklahoma, Indiana are 4 through 7. And it's like, yeah, they've all looked like good teams so far, but are those teams that I'm confident are going to be around at the end of November and into December and aren't going to have some uncharacteristic losses down the stretch?
To be honest with you, Jake, I think the AP poll, I don't want to say it's a sham, but there are some teams in that top 7. Like, for example, Indiana, they're going to lose against Oregon.
Right. And I don't know if it's going to be all that close. Like, no. we saw what they did when they went to Ohio State last year, and that was their only loss. I think they're going to lose pretty bad there. I think they're going to lose pretty bad when they play Penn State, I think is on their schedule. Yeah. Which Penn State, like,
another team out of the top 25 after this past weekend.
They're not going to make the playoffs. And I'll take my victory lap. I picked them to miss the playoffs at the beginning of the year. Did not see them losing to an 0-4 UCLA team. But I don't see them. They still have to play Ohio State in the horseshoe. Like, if you lose that game, you're not getting in.
Yeah.
That is your season. And you also can't slip up at any other point the rest of the year. Indiana's got Oregon and Penn State. They should win the rest of their games. But does a 10-2 Indiana, last year the 11-1 Indiana team got in with their only loss to Ohio State. But does a 10-2 Indiana team get in when your best win would be Illinois? Who does Illinois, like, I get it, they were top 10 when they beat them, but like, is Illinois really that good? They play Ohio State this weekend. I think maybe we'll find out.
Yeah, I think Illinois was an overhyped team coming into the season. Like, again, I go back to the AP poll voting. Like, to me, I don't want to say it was a sham, but it was kind of a sham for the most part because you have teams like Indiana. No offense to Oklahoma with John Mateer. Like, if Mateer's in there, they're a top 5 team in the nation.
Right.
Right now, they're not.
But do I trust that they're going to, win 5 of their last 7 at this point with the schedule that they have to play?
No, and that's why I think these AP poller voters, whatever, they put them so high in the rankings because they know they're going to slip up one of these 2 games, and they're going to put a team that's in the 14, 15 rank leapfrog into the top 10, top 5, whatever it may be. Because honestly, looking at Georgia Tech, they don't play anybody besides Georgia at the end of the season. I could see them creeping up inside the top 10.
Yeah, and it's just interesting to look at this poll because, and I know the AP poll is not everything. There could be teams that we're not thinking about that are going to make a run down the stretch. But I look at the top 12 and I'm like, there's not a whole lot that's intimidating about that group. Right. I mean, Alabama's looked a lot better, but they've shown that they're gettable. I mean, Florida State pretty much dominated them. Mm-hmm. Texas Tech, they're 5-0.
They just have to win out.
Right. Like, I think Texas Tech is the favorite to be the Big 12 representative, but do you get more than one Big 12 team? Probably not. you got Georgia and LSU and Tennessee, 10, 11, 12. That's the group that I'm looking at. I'll make a bold prediction. Maybe it's not bold. One of those teams wins the SEC. And it's
Really?
not I can't see Ole Miss, A&M, and Oklahoma holding serve through the SEC. But I think Georgia, LSU, Tennessee, and you could put Alabama in there. Like that's the group that I see holding up towards the end of the year. I think the other teams maybe are just like a fun start to the season. And I could be wrong. I could be totally wrong. But then on the outside looking in, like you get past 12, are there a ton of teams that really excite you of a Georgia Tech? Like, again, good start to the year. They could make the playoffs. But is that a team that you really are worried about late in the year? Missouri, same thing. Michigan has looked fine at times, but Notre Dame's got 2 losses. Illinois got beat by 50 against Indiana. And then you're getting down to BYU, Virginia. Like, if Vandy is able to take care of business against LSU and Missouri, you got 2 home games the next couple of weeks. I think Vandy puts themselves right in the driver's seat.
Absolutely.
Because I think a lot of those teams that are ahead of them are going to fold at some point. Vandy's got to prove that they're not going to.
Yeah. If Vandy does take care of business, to me, I think they're a top 12 team. I wouldn't put them inside the top 10, primarily because they're just not there yet. I think they'll be in the conversation of if they're in the top 12, do they belong in the playoff? I think they're a bubbled team when it comes to conversations like that.
Yeah. And it is great to have these conversations because last year, even the first year of the 12-team playoff, it felt pretty cut and dry. Like the big conversation at the end of the year was SMU, Alabama. And I know we're still so early. It's October 7th, and a lot of these things will sort themselves out. But it's so wide open right now. Like none of those top 12 teams outside of Ohio State, Miami, and Oregon, I feel like are safe in their spots. Like I think there's going to be a lot of shuffling there. And again, the teams behind them, who's going to make a run? And we could have a very different looking college football playoff this year just because the parity that NIL and the transfer portal has brought, where you don't have the same superpower teams in every single year. And you're starting to see these new fan bases getting re-energized because they're making their way into the playoff football or the college football playoff conversation. And again, it's wide open. I mean, I hate to say it, but Virginia is the 19th ranked team in the country.
Playing good ball right now.
I mean, I know a lot of Virginia fans and obviously a lot of Virginia Tech fans. No one would have ever said that this year Virginia is going to be talking themselves into a possible playoff run this year. But guess what? They got a big influx of NIL money. They went out, they got a quarterback in the portal, and here they are, the 19th ranked team in the country on October 7th.
Yeah. I mean, you look at those teams in that 19 to 12 range. One team in particular, you mentioned them earlier, is Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Looking at their schedule, they have no ranked games the rest of the season for right now. That obviously, if they went out, they're in the playoff.
I think it's we were talking about Notre Dame and how it's going to be tough for them to make the playoffs. Things have broken their way so far.
Yeah, because the 2 losses they have are against top 10 teams. And if A&M and Miami keep up their resume right now, that only boosts Notre Dame into the playoff. And nonetheless, don't get me wrong, their next game next in 2 weeks is against USC, who I think is probably one of the best one-loss teams in college football. Just the way they're clicking on all cylinders offensively, that's going to be the true test for Notre Dame going forward.
Yeah, USC's got Michigan and Notre Dame the next couple of weeks. But you're right. Like Notre Dame, Penn State and Texas losing this week, I think the team that benefited the most was Notre Dame.
Absolutely.
Because the more at-large spots that open up, the more likely it is that Notre Dame's going to find their way into one. Like they have to win out. I don't think a 9-3 Notre Dame team gets in, but I think a 10-2 Notre Dame team might have been on the bubble if you still had that whole group up there with 1 loss maybe or 2 losses. But if Penn State's a 3-loss team, Notre Dame's getting in over them. If Texas is a 3-loss team, Notre Dame's getting in over them. And I think they benefited the most from the chaos this weekend.
Yeah, and I don't want to be the conspiracy theory or whoever's saying this, whatever, but I'll just put it out there. There's TV money in this. And the fact that they have their own individual contract with NBC, there is a huge factor that plays into that. Unfortunately, I don't want that to get in the way of, who plays well on the field. But let's be honest here. There is a lot of money to be had in college football, and Notre Dame is one of those blue chips that hold that price tag.
The ratings love Notre Dame, and it wouldn't shock me. I mean, they have to take care of business.
Right.
You can't. A 9-3 Notre Dame team, I think, is a
bubble.
It's a
team
bubble team at best. I'll say right now, based on what we're looking at, I do think a 9-3 team makes the playoffs as an at-large team. We got close last year. Alabama and Miami and South Carolina and Ole Miss, they were all kind of right there, and there was the thought that maybe one of them might get in. I really do think that a 9-3 team gets in just because of the parity, and these big conferences cannibalize themselves.
They do.
The SEC, it's tough to get through an SEC schedule without a couple of blemishes on your record. I think we're going to get a 9-3 team in this year.
Absolutely. I can't disagree with that because it's like you said, college football is so wide open to the point where there is a 3-loss team out there that belongs in the playoffs.
Yep. And I think that's what a team like Penn State might be hoping for. I mean, Notre Dame, maybe if Notre Dame's only other losses to USC, they're in the conversation. Like it's going to be a really fun final couple months of the college football season because there are so many teams that feel like they're in it. And who's going to go win the football games? Like that obviously that's how this all works. It's like, who is going to go take care of business? And Vandy and Tennessee are right in the spot where they control their own destiny to make that game in Neyland Stadium a battle for a playoff spot.
And to Vandy's point about all this playoff talk, if Vandy were to lose to either LSU or Missouri, one of the two, they're still in contention. Because to me, if you lose to a ranked team, you're still in conversation for the playoff.
Yeah, I think it's going to be tough if they lose to LSU and Texas or something like that.
Now, if it's a one-possession game,
right?
Again, a stronger case for them to stay in the conversation.
Let's say Vandy loses to LSU and Texas, but beats Missouri, Kentucky, Auburn, and then beats Tennessee in the final week of the year. They could be. The committee, a lot of it is a what have you done for me lately thing. And there is recency bias to it of if Vandy does get that win, like let's say that makes Vandy and Tennessee 9-3, Vandy's going to get the bump from the head-to-head result and the recent result. So, there's a whole lot going on. And I can't wait to see the rest of the season. This week's going to be a fun one. Red River rivalry, Texas basically playing for their playoff lives the rest of the way. Maybe John Mateer's back out on the field. And then you got Indiana and Oregon game day going to go there as well. Brandon Hermitage says, Jake, I agree that the college football playoff expansion is a good thing, but when will we see an actual underdog go deep in the playoffs, and who could it even be? That's a bigger question, right? Of like, when do you start to see some of these underdog teams actually make a run? That's tougher.
Not going to happen.
Right. Like
to answer his question, not going to happen.
Getting in, I think, is what a lot of these teams are looking for. Yeah. But when you get to the point where you're playing for a national championship against the big boys, usually that doesn't go your way.
Yeah.
Like we saw Arizona State play with Texas last year and almost pull it off. But if Arizona State played Ohio State the next week, do we think that they were going to even be close in that game?
Absolutely not.
Probably not. So 615-737-1025 is the phone number. We'd love to hear from you. Our phone line's driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. One final thought on a college football adjacent topic. More drama out of Chapel Hill. We'll talk about it next. Then get back into the Titans. Jake Lyman, Nick Frazier, Parker Kelly, next man up, 1025 The Game. Next man up, 102.5 The Game, finishing up hour number 2 here on this Tuesday. Jake Lyman, Nick Frazier, Parker Kelly. Getting the boy, is it Boy Band Tuesday?
We could make that a thing.
Yeah, with whenever Connor's in here, it's White Girl Friday.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So Boy Band Tuesday.
Backstreet Boys any day of the week, man. I'm all for it.
Coming up on the program this
That was
week.
in sync, by the way. Just
Yes.
clarify.
Yeah, not Backstreet. Excuse me. Sorry. Did I mess that up?
That was me.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah.
No,
In sync. We got Backstreet earlier.
Yeah.
Coming up on the program this week, Corey Curtis, as always, on Wednesdays. TD going to be with us on Thursday. And then don't forget, after last week, and now every week from here on out, Max Herr is going to be with us from 9 to 10 on Fridays, talking Predators as the Preds start their season on Thursday. So excited about that. Final thought on college football adjacent topics here. I saw on Monday morning, and obviously we couldn't talk about this yesterday, Titans coming off a win. Bill Belichick has directed North Carolina not to post any Patriots highlights or anything Patriots related, which is hilarious considering the most relevant player to come out of North Carolina in the last couple of years is the Patriots starting quarterback in Drake May. So it was funny. Like, I guess the UNC X account was tweeting out Javonte Williams highlights because he scored a couple touchdowns with the Cowboys on Sunday. And then Drake May goes out and beats the undefeated Bills on Sunday Night Football and crickets. And I guess Bill Belichick has made the decision that UNC not allowed to say anything about the Patriots.
Was it that bad of a breakup?
I mean,
Does Robert Kraft and Bill Belichick have that much of a beef?
I guess. I mean, it didn't end well with everything that happened with, Matt Patricia and Joe Judge being your offensive coordinators and Mac Jones flaming out. And of course, Tom Brady winning the Super Bowl down in Tampa doesn't help the whole narrative as well. But man, just the pettiest, most dramatic possible solutions to everything is what Bill Belichick and Jordan Hudson are going for right now in North Carolina. And man, they got crushed on Saturday by Clemson. A Clemson team that's been horrible all year. 1-3 heading into that game. And was it like 35-3, 5 minutes into the second quarter?
Yeah, I think they scored on the second play of the game. It was a flea flicker, right? Or it was a trick play.
Yeah, Clemson
a wide receiver throwback.
Right, yeah, it was a throwback. That's what it was, the double pass.
Yep.
I mean, Clemson has been bad all year, hasn't been able to score points, and just lights up North Carolina. And I thought it was funny. Bill Belichick did an interview on game day before, just the kind of walking around the field and talking, and basically he was talking about like, yeah, this team, without saying this, he goes, yeah, this team sucks. We're going to have to find better players in recruiting and in the transfer portal. And I don't think anything that has happened since he arrived in Chapel Hill is how he envisioned it. But man, it made me laugh out loud seeing that headline of, yeah, Bill Belichick has directed North Carolina. They are not allowed to tweet anything Patriots related.
And that honestly hurts recruiting on so many different levels. Like,
right.
That's where every young mind is now. It's social media. You're seeing clips online. And for Bill to say, you know what, let's go back to the typewriter days of not posting anything and just worried about what's on the field. Like, I get that mindset, but dude, this is not the NFL.
Yeah. And it's like, there is something to being able to recruit players by showing like, yeah, we've developed NFL players at your position. It's like, do we want to go get a 4 or 5-star quarterback? Look, Drake May, he used to play here and look at what he's doing in the NFL. Sam Howell's in the NFL too, but like, he doesn't play like that. This is an opportunity for your program to market itself. And you're letting the logo that Drake May wears on the side of his helmet impact the way that you're trying to market your program.
Brutal, just brutal. I mean, you have a quarterback issue right now in North Carolina. You need Drake May clips online. I know that sounds stupid to say,
right. Like, it's not that big of a deal, but
kind of.
It's not a big enough deal to not do it, right? Like, it's just feels stupid.
Yeah, it's dumb. I guess whatever Bill and Robert have going back and forth, go to your local bar and just bury the hatchet.
Yeah.
Whatever that is.
I mean, clearly there is a lot of bad blood there, and I don't know. I would have thought maybe Vrabel getting hired there and like maybe Vrabel reinvites Bill back into the Patriots family and all this kind of stuff. Like, I don't know. It's just all weird. And I don't know how Bill and Jordan Hudson just find the worst possible way to deal with any situation since they've gotten there. Like it's been an absolute dumpster fire.
Yeah.
And I wonder how long it's going to last. Cause like North Carolina, they went out and got Mac Brown and it worked for a couple of years. They were pretty good. They got elite quarterbacks to come play for them in Sam Howell and Drake May. But it doesn't feel like Bill Belichick is bringing the same juice. And Mac Brown at least was a professional when he was in there.
Right.
Bill Belichick seems to have just gone off the rails.
And it's almost as if Bill is only taking this job and he doesn't care about his college legacy because it's just his first year, whatever.
Right.
This is Steve's team. It's
Yeah.
his
I mean,
son's
he's going to
team.
hand it off to his son.
Yeah.
And it's
It's
like,
in the contract.
what state is this program going to be in when you hand it off to your son? And like, so it's like, I know it's in his contract, but I'm sure there's a way out of like North Carolina could just be like, all right, sorry, Bill. Like, hey, you and your son, see ya.
Yeah.
So
I don't know what they owe him. If
there would be a buyout probably for both of them. Definitely for both of them. But like, it's just a mess. It's
Mike Lombardi's their GM.
right.
Think
And
about that.
I feel bad for him because it does feel like he's kind of the guy who gets left in mop-up duty of like, oh man, Jordan or Bill caused another huge dramatic situation on social media or in an interview. What do I have to do now? And man, I didn't think it was going to be good with Bill Belichick in Chapel Hill. I didn't think it was going to be this bad.
Yeah.
I really did not.
I thought 6-6.
Right. Like, and I thought maybe the results on the field won't be there, but like Bill Belichick, who's known for being like the least dramatic person out there, like he just wants to do his job, do your job. And it's like, there's so many distractions and pettiness. It's not going to work out. And I just wonder how much longer they're going to let that go on down there because it's been horrible.
I give it 2 more years.
I mean, they're not going to fire him after this year, right? Like,
Right.
but I think next year it goes from, all right, well, maybe we'll give him a year to settle in. He's never coached in college before. Next year, it's like, all right, we got to start to see some progress or we got to pull the plug on this thing.
Hey, the biggest headline will be Jordan Hudson and Bill Belichick break up in the offseason, and you wonder, is this the return of Bill? I feel like that's the next headline.
See, that'd be hilarious. If they break up and all the NFL teams just come swarming, it's like, all right, she's gone. We can bring him in now.
Bill, how would you like to take the Raiders job? Maybe.
Go from Pete Carroll to Bill Belichick?
Yeah. And then Pete Carroll comes to Nashville. I'm cool with that.
I don't know if I'd want Pete Carroll.
I'm not saying be the head coach, but just, come on.
He could be the Jerry Kill of the Titans.
Yeah.
615-737-1025 is our phone number. One more hour on the program today. We'll get back into the Titans. Talk about the defense a little bit because the defense, after a slow start on Sunday, they made some plays down the stretch, and we actually saw some unsung heroes step up for that Titans defensive unit. Also, we'll talk some Preds because the Preds are 2 days away, a little over 48 hours away from starting their season against Columbus at Bridgestone Arena. And their number 5 overall pick is going to be their top line center. Brady Martin has made the roster and looks like he is going to play in between Philip Forsberg and Ryan O'Reilly starting on Thursday. Also, some baseball thoughts to wrap up the show. All coming up in the final hour of the program. Jake Lyman, Nick Frazier, Parker Kelly, next man up, 102.5 The Game. Final hour on this Tuesday. Next man up, 102.5 The Game. Jake Lyman, Nick Frazier, Parker Kelly. We are broadcasting from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios. Home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. Back into the Titans. Titans got a win on Sunday. 1-4. First win in a little over 10 months. It's been a while, but the Titans got it done. No matter how strange of a win it was, they came out on top 22-21, and an opportunity this weekend to string together back-to-back wins for the first time since November of 2022. Taking on the Las Vegas Raiders. They are 1-4 as well. Got blown out by the Colts this past weekend. That game is inside Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas on Sunday afternoon. Titans and Raiders. I want to talk defense. Titans defense got off to a slow start. You gave up 14 quick ones. You know, Marvin Harrison Jr. with a ridiculous catch early on in that game that set up the first score. Kyler Murray showed off the legs to get in for the second touchdown. The third touchdown was set up by that Tony Pollard fumble. Overall, though, I want to give some credit to Denard Wilson's bunch because I thought they played pretty well on Sunday. And you're starting to see some guys who maybe you weren't expecting a whole lot out of making plays for this team. Cedric Gray had 17 tackles against the Texans. I think he had 12.
He did
against the Cardinals on Sunday.
Half of them were solo.
Right. Like he has been making plays. I've noticed him more, slashing into the backfield, making a play on a run. Like I think that is a guy who you could maybe add into the group that could be part of the next core for the Titans. It's a maybe, but he could be. And on the edge, that edge group isn't good. And the one guy you're hoping to see more out of, obviously, is Femi Oladejo, because he's the young piece that you drafted in the second round. But some of the veteran guys have actually been okay. Draymond Jones has not played well this year. He did recover the fumble that bounced off Kyler Murray's face on Sunday. So
a freak play that was.
Shows up in the stat sheet.
It does.
Fumble recovery for Draymond Jones. But I thought Jahad Ward was like disruptive on Sunday. Not like Myles Garrett or an elite pass rusher, but for a guy that you signed off the street after training camp had started when Lorenzo, whatever his name is, or the guy they signed from the Falcons who had no sacks last year. Is it Lorenzo Carter? No,
that's not right. I know what you're talking about, though.
I'm blanking on the name. He was only here for like a couple of weeks.
Lorenzo
Carter. Okay.
Yeah.
I did have it. But they brought in Jahad Ward to replace him after he retired. And Jahad Ward, he was making plays on Sunday. That's what you need if this defensive line is going to be a factor in games, because Jeffrey Simmons can only do so much.
Right.
He's going to get double teamed a lot. You don't have Tavondre Sweat out there. Yes, you need Jeffrey Simmons to keep doing what he's doing, but he can't be the only guy on that line. I think you've seen more from Arden Key. You've seen more from Jahad Ward. And, after a really tough start, Draymond Jones, I guess, has been a little bit better. But that group is starting to come together a little bit.
Yeah, you're right. If you listened earlier to Robbie Rexroad, Mike Herndon joined Paul and Robbie, and he mentioned Jahad Ward and how he was a productive player as well. And to that point, you mentioned just in general this Titans defense against Arizona. Like another guy they picked up off waivers, Jalen Armour-Davis. Another key factor.
I mean, yeah, he's a starting cornerback for this team right now.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of have to because you have nobody out there, but he's playing well. Like, you don't see a lot of production out of guys you go grab off the wire and just say, hey, you're going to be here, playing here for a certain amount of plays. No, just plug them in and see what they can do. And again, this is I don't want to say a prove-it deal for a lot of guys, but this is their opportunity to flourish and to see if they can be a part of the roster next year.
Right.
This, to me, I look at this season as a tryout for guys that are on the bubble. Really.
I mean, you look at the edge group, all of those guys are on one-year deals or Arden Key's an expiring contract.
Right.
So, you look at that edge group, Femi Oladejo is really the only guy who's going to be around next year, unless I'm forgetting somebody, but I don't think I am.
No.
Right?
I don't think so.
Draymond Jones was a one-year deal. Jahad Ward was obviously a one-year deal. And then this is the final year of Arden Key's 3-year deal. So, yeah, you've got to start over there, and everybody kind of knows it. Like, that's why Ruben Bain's being brought up for the Titans if they end up picking high and don't trade back. Like, that's where they're going to have to go early in the draft. You have to get another edge rusher. You hope Femi can be a serviceable second edge, but you got to go get a guy who can be a game wrecker. And so it is a good tryout to see, could Jihad Ward be a good depth piece for you moving forward?
Right.
Could you want to bring Arden Key back as a situational pass rusher? I don't know. That's the stuff that you're trying to figure out this year. I also wanted to mention with the defense that like Kevin Winston played for the first time on Sunday,
Pretty good.
mostly in special teams.
Mhm.
I'll have to check how many snaps he got, but didn't do much defensively, if anything.
Right.
But that's another piece that you have out there, another chess piece for Denard Wilson, who likes to show all these multiple looks and likes to have different looks from pressure and coverage. And I'm interested to see if this defense can continue to take strides, because they shut out the Cardinals in the second half on Sunday. And again, a lot of that had to do with self-inflicted wounds from the Cardinals. Like, should they have had at least 10 points? Yes, because if you don't fire the snap off Kyler Murray's visor, that's at least a field goal. And then, of course, the fumble going across the goal line. But overall, they did look better, especially when you needed stops late in that game to get the ball back for your offense, and they got them. And that's what you need from Denard Wilson. You saw the complementary football start to show up for the first time. And again, it's similar to what we talked about with the offense in the first hour of like, can you build off that? Don't let this be just a fluke one time where you get it all right and it all works together. Can you build off it and put together a complete game against the Raiders on Sunday?
And I'd say yes to that. I'm not trying to look too far into the future, but when you look at a 1-4 Raiders team, and you even mentioned it with Geno Smith throwing 9 picks already this season, you got to be happy about that. If you're the Titans, you're probably salivating at the mouth when you're trying to do all your game planning for this, because that's a guy who's not in good form right now.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, he doesn't have Brock Bowers with him because of the whole bruised leg, knee injury thing. But minus all that, this is a Titans defense that can capitalize on this and maybe carry some momentum going forward. Now, again, people are probably thinking, oh my goodness, Titans have turned the corner on their season. This could be it. No.
We're not there yet.
Right.
I think this is a chance this week to show that you're moving in the right direction. Like you've throughout the year, for people watching on the stream, you'll see my hand here. Like, you've been on a slow decline. And this week in the fourth quarter, as you were continuing to decline, you pop back up. And you made a plays to show that maybe something has changed. If you just stay right there, this season's not going to get any better. You got to show that turnaround isn't just for the 12 minutes that it took to come back in that game. It can be something that you can build off of and turn from one win into maybe 2 wins this week. And I don't know if you're going to beat the Patriots or the Colts or the Chargers, because those are teams that are competing for playoff spots right now. They're in playoff spots right now. But the Raiders are a team that you should be able to go play with and win a football game. Let's see if they can do it.
Yeah, I agree. And to your point about Kevin Winston, he played 21 snaps on special teams, 70% of those.
Did he play any on defense?
Don't see any on defense.
We can check that out. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. I love Parker's caption on the Twitter post he put out for this segment. The Titans defense didn't play bad on Sunday in Arizona. I think that's a good way to put it.
Fantastic wording right there.
They didn't play good, but they didn't play bad. And they were able to do just enough to get the win against the Cardinals. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. Let's talk more Titans on the other side and preview this Raiders game a little bit more, because as we mentioned, Geno Smith, 9 interceptions this year. This is a Titans team that has forced more turnovers. I think that's going to be a key on Sunday when the Titans head out to Sin City. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. You can text or call. Our phone lines are driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Jake Lyman, Nick Frazier, Parker Kelly, next man up here on 1025 The Game. Next man up, 102.5 The Game. Jake Lyman, Nick Frazier, Parker Kelly with you. Few more segments left on this Tuesday. Talking Titans here as Two-Tone Blue got their first win of the season on Sunday. One of the weirder games you will ever see in your life. But the Titans took advantage of the mistakes from Arizona, got themselves back in the win column, and now a chance to win back-to-back games for the first time again since November 13th and November 17th, 2022. I moved to Nashville November 1st of 2022. So basically, since I've lived here, the Titans have not had back-to-back wins. Can they change that on Sunday? I would love to see it.
Me too. Do I think it'll happen? As much as the cards and the cards and everything's starting to bode well for the Titans, as Connor Newt always says, the Titans are going to tighten.
Well, right. It's like if you can't do it now, when are you going to do it? Because I don't see a whole lot of opportunities for back-to-back wins left on the schedule. You stole one in Arizona. Can you get one against a struggling Raiders team? Now, you mentioned Brock Bowers. He's been hurt. Does he come back this week? Because that changes a lot for the Raiders, who he's their number one target when he's healthy. You got Ashton Genty, who seems like he's starting to round into form. He's had a couple of good weeks in a row. So I'm not completely pushing this Raiders team to the side and saying the Titans should win this game, but they can win this game. And that's not something you say about every opponent the Titans play. Wes in Clarksville says, we ain't had back-to-back wins in how long? I'd put my money against the Titans. And it's fair, but I'm looking at it as like, if you're not going to win back-to-back games now, the rest of the schedule doesn't really line up with a whole lot of opportunities for you.
Yeah, I mean, you look at this Raiders team minus Brock Bowers, so you're talking about Ashton Genty. Like, if the Titans are smart, which they are for the most part, you just clog the middle and see what you can do from there, because you're then forcing Geno Smith to throw the ball.
Yeah.
And for the time being, like we talked about, you said 9
interceptions. 9 times.
I mean, not 10, not 11, 9. That's crazy.
Times. He's thrown an interception in 5 weeks, which is, I mean, that's a lot. And the Titans are forcing turnovers. Corey Curtis has put this out there a lot this week. And again, he'll be in with us tomorrow for the full show, that the Titans have a positive turnover differential right now. They have forced turnovers this year. Some of them may be unforced. 2 of them on Sunday against the Cardinals. Does that count as a turnover? I guess it does. The fumble after the interception.
It does. We were talking about that yesterday on Chasing Big Joe. The whole, I don't know what you would call that little filibuster of a play.
Yeah,
Arizona, but Tyler Lockett
debacle
recovering.
Right. So I guess it was 3 fumbles from Arizona.
Yeah.
So,
change of possession.
Maybe a little bit of a skewed statistic, but compared to last year, the Titans have forced more turnovers. You got a guy who is reeling right now, can't stop giving the ball away. Can you take advantage of that? Because again, as I mentioned, like if you're going to win back-to-back games the rest of the year, you do not have a stretch the rest of the year with back-to-back teams who are not currently in playoff position. Actually, I take that back. Currently, the Chiefs and Saints aren't in playoff position, but would you qualify the Chiefs as a game you're supposed to win, especially in December? Yeah. Probably not. So there's not a whole lot of opportunities for the Titans to get a winning streak going. I'd love for them to just go out there and win the game. Look like you did late in that game with rhythm on offense and your defense playing complementary football. Like, put it all together for one full game. I know you're not going to go and turn this team into a playoff team, but show that you can have some progress and not just stagnate down here as one of the worst teams in the league.
Yeah, and it, again, goes to the mindset a little bit. You mentioned in the first hour about Brian Callahan and asked about going for 2 and stuff. He said he was going to stay with going for a field goal. Like, if you're going to be consistent with calling conservative plays, stay consistent with it and see if that works.
No, that's what I want from Callahan, is just like have a consistent like philosophy when it comes to some of these decisions that he makes. And if that's what you say is like, hey, if we're down by 9, we're kicking it, we're staying within 1 score, and we're going to prolong the game, fine. If that's your philosophy, go with it. At the end of halves, if you're across midfield and you're going to play for the field goal, do it. But then don't, like, 4th and 10 when your offense hasn't been able to move the ball all day and can't convert on 3rd downs. What makes you think going for it on 4th down is going to be a good idea? Yeah. Like, you need just some consistency of like, here is how we're going to play these situations. And there is some gut feel to it, right? Like in
Yes, there
certain
is.
spots, it's like maybe you have a gut feel one way or the other, but that feel has been wrong for Brian Callahan on almost every decision he's made, especially at the end of the first half.
And maybe it turns around for him because, like I said in the first hour, is that Bo Hargrave with all the play calling duties now. I think Callahan's starting to adjust to all this. And if he does adjust to it, then guess what? You're going to have some, I guess, conservative yet consistent play.
Yeah, and we'll see. I'd like to see, Trey gets a lot of flack on our airwaves because, he calls in and usually it's anti-Cam Ward. And Titans fans, that's the savior right now is Cam Ward. Like, can he turn this franchise around? And he did say when he called into Robbie and Rexford at the end of their show about how he wants Cam Ward to play a game within the system. And I actually agree with that. Like, let's go see the Titans just play a clean game. We don't need flashy. You don't have to go put up 40 on the Raiders.
Right.
But play a game where you're consistently moving the football, you're staying ahead of the chains, you're converting on third downs, your coach is making the right decisions in the right spot. Like, let's see that and see if that leads you to a 10-point win. Because I think it would if you just can do those two things. Stay ahead of the chains, don't make stupid decisions. Boom. You can go beat the Raiders on Sunday.
Absolutely. And you make a really good point about just playing clean. And I want to add this into that aspect of it, the off the script plays. Like, I get everybody loves the flashy Cam Ward going out of the pocket, throwing across his body, whatever. I'll include that into this conversation of just nice play action. Give me a nice play action. That's all I asked for.
We saw it twice. I've been begging for play action shots to Chimdike or Calvin Ridley. And we got them on Sunday. Cam Ward missed them. He's got to hit those in the future.
Mm-hmm.
He overthrew Chimdike twice on the same drive looking for that play action shot. I'm glad they called it. Cam's got to hit it next time. Chip from Mount Juliet on our text line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com says Raiders, Jets, Cardinals, and Titans, 4 worst teams in the league. You're forgetting the Saints in there.
Yes.
Saints deserve. Don't you look over the Saints as one of the worst teams in the league. But funny enough about the Cardinals, like I follow the Phoenix Suns a little bit.
Uh-huh.
Like they're my basketball team. I'm not a huge NBA guy, but I do follow some like reporters from Phoenix, and the meltdown they are having this week, it makes me laugh because that's what we've been doing for the past 3 years basically. And oh my goodness, the Cardinals fans, the Cardinals media cannot believe what happened on Sunday. And rightfully so. It was the stupidest game I've ever seen in my life. But watching the meltdown, I'm like, man, it's nice to not be on that side of it for once.
Yeah. I'll ask you, is Kyler Murray the problem in Arizona?
No, but I don't know if he's the solution either.
Okay.
Like, I think that's the way I would put it is like, I don't think he's the reason that they're not consistently in the playoff conversation, but I don't know if he's going to be part of the reason they get back into the playoff conversation.
Okay. Because you know how much I like Kyler Murray. It's just,
I don't like their coach.
Yeah.
I don't like Gannon.
You like Kyler Murray?
Yeah.
We didn't know that.
I didn't know that.
Absolutely, man.
I don't like Jonathan Gannon. Like, did you see the video of him just ripping DeMarcado? And I know he apologized for it and said that wasn't right. And like, yeah, you got to hold your players accountable, but that was kind of a bad look of like, hey, don't do that out in the open in front of everybody. Like, it's a coaching moment. It happened at a horrible time and it cost them the game. But like, man, the way he's talked, like he came in and did his introductory press conference when he first got hired, and long rant of like, the Cardinals are going to be this and the Cardinals are going to be that. And it's I'm like
militaristic
almost.
almost.
And just like kind of corny.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't like him. I think maybe that's one of the big reasons that they're struggling. But yeah, to see the Cardinals meltdown from the Arizona sports fans again, like I'm not like happy about it, but like it's nice to be on the other side of it where you can embrace that the other team just completely gave away a game instead of your team actually doing it. 7621 says, I'm from Arizona and been a Cardinals fan my whole life. And yes, Kyler Murray will not get us over the hump. I think that's the right way to put it, is that Kyler Murray is a serviceable starting quarterback in this league, but is he going to be able to elevate the team around him? I think we've proven probably not at this point.
Yeah, I think he'd be a good sub 500 quarterback. Don't get me wrong, I love Kyler Murray. I
And
like what he has.
He's going to
but-
be in the league for a long time.
Right.
But I think Arizona, I don't know if they're quite in Tua territory yet of like time to just pull the plug and find somebody else. But I think they're maybe a year away from that.
Yeah. Why not do it while you're ahead of the game? Just do it. You know?
We could see the Jaguars. Hey, Trevor Lawrence is starting to pull himself out of Tua territory. I think that's what we need to start calling it. The quarterbacks who the team just needs to give up on Tua territory. Trevor made a great throw to help win that game. And then the stumble touchdown at the end of the game. Let's go back to our phone lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Ed from Mount Juliet is on the line wanting to talk about Cam Ward. Ed, thanks for calling. Go ahead.
Yeah, hey, I'll keep it short. One of the things watching that game is, by the time you get to the fourth quarter and Cam is leading the Titans down to eventually the win, a lot of people are sitting there thinking, where's this team been? Where's this playbook been? It wasn't there in the first three quarters. And so I say all that to go back to a comment you made from a caller who said he wanted to see Cam work in a system. Were those first three quarters not Cam working in a system? I'm not convinced there is a system. The offense has been without identity, at least for these 5 weeks. What justification or what reasoning I'd love to hear you guys have on what was going on in those first three quarters, and why all of a sudden 8 minutes left in the fourth quarter and we decide we want to win a game. Help me understand the dichotomy there. Did Cam just say screw it? I'm going to take matters in my own hands, or what? What was that disparity there? Thanks, guys.
Yeah, I appreciate the call, Ed. I don't know. Like they looked just as bad as they had over the past couple of weeks through the first three quarters, and then it felt like they figured something out. And when I say playing within the system, I mean like for the first couple of weeks, it felt like the only big plays the Titans made were when Cam Ward improvised and made plays in like a backyard football kind of way. I'd love to see them just move the chains consistently. Take your 10 to 15 yards when you get it. You don't, I'd love to see some explosive plays. I think you need explosive plays. I've said it before. This offense isn't good enough to consistently score on 12 play drives, but I'd like to see it not have to be hero ball for them to go win football games. Let's go out there and have long extended drives and score in the red zone. I think that's more what we were saying, but yeah, I don't know what flipped. I mean,
decision making by the quarterback himself.
Right.
I mean, that's kind of your primary solution to what changed in the second half is that quarterback just made better decisions in some aspects.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think he started to take what the defense gave him. We saw the play early on in the game where he's rolling out right and Chig Okonkwo is right there. It's a 5-yard pass. Chig takes it for 8 on 1st and 10. Cam was looking for something deeper and he ended up running out of bounds for a 1-yard gain. Like, those are the kinds of plays Cam Ward needs to just take. And I feel like we started to see that towards the end of the game and then picked and he chooses his spots to take the deep shot. And it worked out. Let's see if he can do it for a full game.
Yeah, and if I'm Cam Ward and everybody keeps talking about his confidence, if he kind of loses a little bit of that momentum, go back and watch your tape against Denver. Because I think he did a really good job at recognizing defenses and fronts, and he was picking and choosing his spots. Sure, that was a game Calvin Ridley had the yips and didn't catch anything.
Yeah.
But if you go back and watch that game.
No, that's true.
Cam Ward's on it.
He did the same thing against Denver, except his receivers didn't catch the ball.
Right. So I think if you go back and watch that and apply it to now, that's kind of what you're hoping for.
Right. And you can't play the entire game at 2-minute tempo, but like try and pull some of the things that made Cam Ward comfortable from that and try and put it into your everyday game plan. And I think that'd help Cam Ward a lot. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. We'd love to hear from you. 5644 says, wait a minute, I'm not a Nick Saban fan, but I didn't hear anyone complaining when he's ripping into his players or assistant coaches when he was coaching. I felt like it was different. Like Nick Saban, first of all, had built a reputation to be able to do that. And it was more like coming off the field, he'd be yelling at them. Like this was Jonathan Gannon going up and getting in a player's face on the sideline in front of all the fans. Like, go watch the video. It felt different to me. And maybe it is a double standard because Jonathan Gannon isn't Nick Saban, but I just felt like it was over the top. That's something, if you're going to do that, do it in the locker room, not in front of all of his teammates and all of the fans.
And to add a little more context to that, I mean, poor DeMarcado. He was just
right.
His
Like
head was
that
being
dude already knows he messed up.
Yeah, but his head was being consoled on one of the offensive linemen. Like
Right.
it was like the little brother holding on to the big brother, giving like, "Hey, it's okay. Here's the hug."
And he kind of like hit him too.
Yeah.
Like Jonathan Gannon came up and like gave
the
him a little
shoulder pad.
shove. Like I'm again, maybe it's a double standard, but I'm just saying like and also I just don't really like Jonathan Gannon all that much anyway. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. Lots of good stuff on the text line today. Appreciate everybody getting involved with us. We are going to transition over to the Preds coming up next. We are just 2 days away from the opener. Predators hosting the Blue Jackets on Thursday night inside Bridgestone Arena, and they will have their rookie top 5 pick, Brady Martin, on the team on the first line. We'll talk about it coming up next. Jake Lyman, Nick Frazier, Parker Kelly, next man up, 102.5 The Game. Parker keeping it consistent today. Next man up, 102.5 The Game, Jake Lyman, Nick Frazier, Parker Kelly. 2 more segments to go. Chase and Big Joe are coming up at the top of the hour. And again, don't forget, rest of the week here on Next Man Up. Corey Curtis from News 2 tomorrow. Teron Davenport will be with us for the full show on Thursday. And then we'll talk a lot of Preds on Friday after the opener against Columbus. Max Hers will be in from 9 to 10 from Preds Radio to talk all things Smashville. Speaking of the Preds, they announced their opening night roster yesterday. And the one question everybody had, there were multiple questions. The biggest question was Brady Martin, who was picked 5th overall back during the summer, was he going to be on the roster? Not only is he going to be on the roster, but as Max told us last Friday, it's looking like he is going to be the top line center for this Preds team. I mean, I don't know if anyone could have expected that he's going to be playing up there with Philip Forsberg and Ryan O'Reilly. And he has the 9 games before they have to decide whether to send him back to juniors. But we talked about it before we went on air, Nick, of like, man, if you're putting him up there on that top line, unless he really struggles, are you really going to want to send him back to juniors and replace him when you've already plugged him in with 2 of your better players on the top line?
This tells me 2 things. 1, he had a really good preseason and training camp to get up to this point. 2, if he's really good at facilitating the puck, Philip Forsberg's going to have a career year. That's what it tells me.
It's a good point. Yeah.
I don't know if that tells you that, but that's the notion I have.
I think it's a reason for excitement for the Preds because the center depth is just not good on this team. It's a lot of hope that young guys are going to step up. Like, I think you feel good with Big Sexy on the center on that 4th line, and Svechkov showed that he can be an impact player, especially playing next to Stamkos. And then you got Hala, who's the veteran on the 3rd line, but you didn't have that top line center. And the thought process is you have to draft that guy. And when you draft him, usually, unless it's a Connor Bedard or Macklin Celebrini, those guys aren't plug and play. You got a guy who you're plugging and playing him, at least to start off the season. That's exciting for Preds fans. And who knows if it's going to work out. Maybe the lights are a little too bright, but I don't see Barry Trotz and Andrew Burnett doing this unless they feel like he can make an impact for this team.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to play the box score stats game with you, but I mean, you look at his stats in the OHL with the Greyhounds, 57 games, 39 assists. So, I mean, that's pretty darn good. I mean, he obviously had 33 goals and 39 assists, put all that together, but 39 assists in 57 games, it's a pretty good sample size to say, hey, I can facilitate the puck at a high level. I mean, to say that a top 5 draft pick is going to help day one for the Preds, that tells you a lot about the youth of this team. And Connor Newt on the weekend show made a good point about Burnett's, I guess, idea with these lines is that he's pairing a youngster with 2 veterans or 2 youngsters with a vet.
Right.
Just those combinations. Because look, if that all works out and the chemistry starts to build between every single one of those guys, you can start switching up your lines a little bit. You have more versatility, and then you become a 3-headed monster, 4-headed monster in some aspects. Like, that's something you like to see going forward.
You need a lot to go right if you're the Preds. Like, there are a lot of question marks around this team heading into the year, and that's why they're not being viewed in the same way as they were last year. Like, are your big price tag veterans going to step up after not having their best year in their first year with the Preds? Stamkos, Marshall Sauché. Are those guys going to step up? Can Yossi stay healthy? I mean, he missed most of last year. And then it's the young guys. Like, do Svechkov and Martin, if Martin sticks around for the full year, do those guys establish themselves as rising stars for your team? Because that's what they kind of have to be.
Mm-hmm.
And Luke Evangelista, I think I'd put in that category too, of like, he's a guy who you expected to be an up-and-comer who ends up being a top 6 forward for you. And last year, outside of a late spurt down the stretch, he really wasn't what you hoped he would be. You got the contract stuff figured out. I don't know. He's a non-roster player right now. Like, they haven't actually figured it out, and I doubt he plays on Thursday.
Right.
But that's another guy who, if he can take a step and can be a guy who you can count on to be a winger on your second or third line, along with Bunting and Marchessault and Stamkos, like that makes this team a whole lot better. Like, the top 6 wingers for this team, it's a pretty good group. If you can find the right centerman in between them with Forsberg. O'Reilly's going to play the wing. Stamkos, Evangelista, Bunting, Marchessault. Like that is a talented group who have done it at the NFL level.
NHL level.
Yeah, sorry.
I know.
Flipping back and forth
Yeah.
at the NHL level. Like, can that group step up with the young guys in the middle, and then Hala obviously is on that third line?
Yeah, like you said, this is a recipe for could be success. I think we're putting this cake in the oven right now and just saying, do we put this on 375 or do we put this on 400?
Right.
Because it could go either way. Like if I put it on 375, it could be undercooked. Put it on 400, or I just go 425. 400's right in the middle. Put it on 425, could overcook this cake. We don't want to do that.
Yeah, this team, it may not be very good again. It's fully a possibility that they struggle again, just like they did last year. But you do look at the potential of the young players and the proven ability of your veterans. And if those guys can get back, maybe not even to their ceiling, but get close to where you need them to be, this is a team with enough talent to get back to the postseason.
Yeah, and also, too, when you have the additions of Perbix and Haig, I think that plays a big factor into all this for guys like Stamkos and Marchessault, who both have familiar chemistries with each of those guys. So you put that into the equation. There is chemistry on this team that a lot of people, I think, may not see on the face of things. But when you get down to the nitty-gritty, like, yeah, this actually does have the pieces to do well.
Yeah, and Andrew Brunette, I would say, is in a similar spot to where Brian Callahan was heading into this year, of like, hey, we're giving you another chance. You got to go prove it, and you kind of got to do it fast. And we'll see. They started 0-5 last year. I think a quick start's going to be important. They play Columbus on Thursday night, Utah on Saturday night, teams that they can go compete with. And you mentioned it, Nick Haig and Nick Perbix. If you want to go meet those guys, get some autographs, Brewhouse South tonight in Cool Springs. Max Hers will be down there for the first Smashville Live of the year. If you can't make it down to Brewhouse South, you can listen right here at 6 o'clock on 102.5 The Game. Pred season just 2 days away. NHL opens up tonight. Hockey season is here. For all of those Nashville sports fans who have struggled to get through the first month of Titan season, the Preds are here. Hopefully they can bring some joy to this city. Hair Metal Henry says, no wonder they were so bad last year playing at an NFL level. Yeah. Yes, NHL level. It's tough. We're switching back and forth. We've been talking football all day long. 615-737-1025. Last call for phones. If you have thoughts on the Preds, the Titans, anything, we'll take it. I do want to touch on the MLB postseason because, Nick Frazier, you're my baseball guy whenever you come in. Just want to give a little playoffs update. We got some big games today. 3 teams on the verge of elimination, and we're getting close to setting our championship series team. So we'll talk about that to wrap up the show. We'll take your phones as well. 615-737-1025. Jake Lyman, Nick Frazier, Parker Kelly, next man up, 102.5 The Game. Final segment, next man up, 102.5 The Game. Jake Lyman, Nick Frazier, Parker Kelly, Chasing Big Joe coming up at the top of the hour. Did want to mention we were talking Preds. I believe Barry Trotz is joining DVD at 5 o'clock today for his first appearance of the year. So make sure to tune in for that. Always great to hear from the Preds GM. I'm sure he'll have thoughts on Brady Martin making the team, the negotiation with Luke Evangelista, and how that all got sorted out. So make sure you tune in. Let me confirm that actually real quick, because those are always, it's always good to hear from Barry Trotz, because he really is just so open with what he says. Like,
Open
he's
book
not
Barry.
hiding anything. Yes. Adam Vingan tweeted out, Predators fans, our weekly interviews with GM Barry Trotz start today at 5 p.m. So make sure you tune in right here on 102.5 The Game. Preds have their season opener coming up on Thursday. And again, Smashville Live, 6 o'clock, right here on 102.5 The Game. You can go out there live and in person at 6 o'clock at Brewhouse South. Nick Hague, Nick Perbix going to be the two guests. Before we get out of here, haven't talked about baseball in about a week. We did our preview. I picked the Mariners to go and win the World Series. And I'm really hoping I'm wrong because they're playing my Tigers right now. Tigers-Mariners, the only one of these division series that has gone 1-1. The other two, one of the teams has swept. The Brewers sweeping both at home. The Blue Jays doing the same with the Yankees. Dodgers taking both on the road against the Phillies.
It's crazy. I don't know if you're trying to do some like voodoo magic with your Tigers about how, you pick
the Mariners.
Like, what's
I hope
wrong
I'm wrong
with you?
I
want to make sure you're okay.
Last Tuesday, before the Tigers had played a playoff game, I had very low expectations, and I still kind of do. The bats, outside of one inning in Cleveland on Thursday, have not been very good, but they're coming back home. They haven't played at home since, I think, September 21st, so we'll see what happens today. It's looking like maybe there might be a rain delay, so
it's a plus.
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to watch if it's early this afternoon, so push it back to like 6 or 7. Yeah. Wouldn't hate that, but that's the only series that's 1-1. Tigers have 2 at home back-to-back, and then if they get to Game 5, Tarek Skubal will pitch. So I'm not feeling horrible about their prospects. I hate that Joe Rexroad's on vacation this week. He's usually at 8:55 every morning, we're just giving quick Tigers thoughts to each other. But, we'll see. Hopefully when he comes back, the Tigers are playing in the ALCS. We'll see what happens. But, man, the Dodgers, that team is inevitable. They are.
Yep.
It's disappointing. But, I thought the Phillies were going to be a really tough matchup for them. I thought on paper that's a team that could play with them. Mm-hmm. And, the games have been close, obviously. Teoscar Hernandez hit the 3-run homer on Saturday night that helped the Dodgers get the win. And then yesterday, Dodgers went up 4-0. Phillies super close to coming back and tying that game up. Freddie Freeman with a heck of a pick at first base for the final out of the game. But, man, it's like I wanted to see the Dodgers get taken out early because I just feel like once they get to a 7-game series, it's going to be really, really hard to take them out. It might be back-to-back for the Dodgers this year.
Yeah, I was talking to somebody last night. It might have been my dad over the phone. I can't recall who it was, but I was just saying it's crazy how the Dodgers get away with bringing a guy like Miguel Rojas into the lineup when he doesn't play nearly at all for the regular season, and he is a playoff gem. Like Max Muncy does not have the greatest bat at third base. You bring in a guy like Miguel Rojas in the playoffs.
Right.
That great diving play at third last night was incredible, and then he goes and has a great game at the plate. So.
Kike Hernandez is the same. Like that dude, I never hear about him until October, and then he just makes plays for this Dodgers team.
And that goes to show you how deep the Dodgers roster is when you can just play guys week in and week out throughout the season, and you have like certain guys that play well in the postseason. So
and it's also funny, like they make the big signing of Roki Sasaki this year, and he's horrible, struggles, has to go back down to AAA. Oh, he's going to be our closer, and he's figured out how to throw 100 again with that nasty splitter. So don't worry, he's going to close out games for us this year. Also, we got Clayton Kershaw in the bullpen, who trying to win one last World Series for him.
Let's not forget about Tyler Glasnow and
Tyler. Snell. Yeah, we got Glasnow, we got Snell, we got Yamamoto. It's and Shohei Ohtani. Also
forgot about that.
Almost forgot about the National League MVP.
But that rotation is deep, and the fact that they have all this deferred money, keep doing it. I mean, because you're going to win multiple championships, and your money that you're deferring is going to pay itself.
Right.
Off.
Baseball's a weird sport, and it's hard to make any kind of prediction because it can flip so fast.
Mhm.
One team gets hot, another team cools off, and that's all it takes in the playoffs. But right now, it seems like we're trending towards a Blue Jays Dodgers World Series, which would be really interesting.
Mhm.
I don't know if the Blue Jays have the pitching to keep up, but Trey, I never know how to pronounce it. You Savage.
I don't know how to pronounce it either.
I
I'm
watched
not
the
great with
game
pronunciation.
and they said it over and over, and I'm forgetting how they pronounced it. It's just a weird one to look at. But man, he was absolutely nasty on, was that Saturday? Sunday?
Sunday.
So the Yankees on the verge of elimination at Yankee Stadium tonight, and we'll see if the Blue Jays can finish that one off. I think it's going to be a fun rest of the postseason. I'd love to see someone challenge the Dodgers. The Brewers look really good, but man, that's David versus Goliath right there. The power of friendship versus a $500 million payroll.
I look at the Milwaukee Brewers as the little brother to the Dodgers. Like the DNA is similar. They have all this young, good core guys.
Right.
But
it's like they've got the homegrown talent, and it's like maybe some of those guys aren't in their primes quite yet. Like Jackson Chourio, really good player.
Deal with a hamstring, isn't he?
Might be. He hit a 3-run homer last night.
Yeah.
But so did Andrew Vaughn, who they traded
at the deadline for.
Who did they trade? He requested a trade
from Chicago.
Aaron Savali. They traded to the White Sox and got back Andrew Vaughn, who hit a 3-run homer last night. So the playoffs are always fun. I'm rooting for my Tigers. I have low expectations. The Mariners offense is really good. I saw it the other night. It's like Tigers finally break through and tie the game in the 8th inning, and then Cal Raleigh and Julio Rodriguez come through with big swings. So I have low expectations, but we'll see. Tigers have back-to-back games at home, and then Scooble in Game 5 if they need him.
If they can get a win tonight, this afternoon, I guess, for the Tigers, that definitely swings the momentum back in their favor. I know it's only one game, but
it's a massive game because at that point, you guarantee yourself Game 5 with Scooble on the mound, and you're playing at home in Game 4 where you can close it out. Like that, today is a huge game. I would say if the Tigers win today, I think they'll win the series. I don't know how much further they would go beyond that, but if they lose today, I can't see. I honestly don't think they make it back to Seattle if they lose today. So we'll see. It's always fun when we got playoff baseball. And again, we got hockey season coming up, plenty of football. Again, tomorrow on the show, Corey Curtis from News 2 is going to join us. We'll have plenty to get into after the Titans' crazy win on Sunday. We'll talk more about that. Get ready for the Raiders game. Also, we'll talk some college football. Again, Teron Davenport is on Thursday. Max Hers will be with us Friday from 9 to 10 after the Preds start up their season. Nick, appreciate you coming in.
Thank you, sir.
Enjoy the show. Chasing Big Joe with Dr. Crane. Nick Frazier is coming up next. For Nick Frazier and Parker Kelly, I'm Jake Lyman signing off. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. Chasing Big Joe coming up next right here on 102.5 The Game.